Okay, we're blessed with the dot. Charles, do you feel any difference right now?
Like about 40 degrees warmer.
Oh, well, the weather is much better, but we have a new software version today that we're testing for the first time that should fix there we go, the black frame problem has been rectified.
That's good.
That is good.
So, hats off
to a very cute dog that lady has.
Hats off to the art department for another great poster. I was not familiar with the movie in question, but the poster is really fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Yes, let's talk about it for a second, because I don't know if people know about this movie. This was a hilarious movie, I guess from the 80s. I saw it on cable, and it's about Henry Winkler and Michael Keaton get some kind of job at the city morgue, and they turn it into a brothel.
Yeah, that would
night shift.
Yeah.
And I figured that's right up Hunter Biden's alley.
And the Biden family, it's a Biden family business. Right?
And we're all getting screwed,
exactly.
So it sort of fit.
Yeah, and we do have to pay for it. People think we're not paying for it, but we are paying for it. Our children are going to pay for it, our grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Here we are, though. What a difference 3 days makes. I mean, think about how cold you and I were out there at Trump Links, and think how warm it is now. We have the beginnings of those. I think is that a cherry tree up there?
Cherry tree?
The purplish
aren't
one?
they white cherry trees?
They're white. They're different type. Maybe that, I don't know what that is, but the buds are just starting to come out. If this weather stays warm.
Actually, the buds were. There was a guy walking by with a bag full of them just before.
Stay focused, Jason.
Sorry.
We're talking about trees here, not medicinal, recreational enterprises.
It's mandatory now.
But Biden, I mean, it just has gotten to the point now, and I've been involved in my business career with people who had the greatest promise. I mean, really outstanding resumes and qualifications. We hired them for different things. Something happens, I don't know what, they go on the European tour before the job, smoke their brains out, drink their brains out, whatever, show up at the job at a business school, and just fuck everything up, just non-stop. And that is where we are, I think, with Joe Biden. I mean, we think about it, he gives, every time he gives a speech,
it's worse than the last.
I mean, and there was the one speech where he's talking about the ghost guns, and I'm not an expert on guns, though I was on the board of a company that made parts that could be used for guns. And he concocts this elaborate argument. He comes up with this idea, ghost guns. Same idea as transitory inflation. There is no such thing as transitory inflation. There is no such thing as ghost guns.
What is a ghost gun?
A ghost gun the idea is, it's a gun that can be assembled by an individual, doesn't go through the registration process, and that may be true that there are such the parts that could be turned by an enterprising person into a weapon. The person who was just, I believe, arrested for the Brooklyn incident, was it yesterday or 2 days ago?
Yesterday.
Yesterday, he had an axe. You know, if you go
axe, right? Ghost axe.
Well, when I go through the when this first came up when I was writing for the Washington Times, and I hadn't studied go in the park. I don't generally like to do this, but there's so many police.
Doing nothing.
We'll take a texting. We'll get some donuts. But I saw this stuff about violent crime and guns and all this kind of stuff, and my basic understanding of the way this works is that to get a gun, I know when I looked into it a long time ago upstate, because I had the property, I wanted maybe some shotguns, things like that. There's a 5-day waiting period there was back then, during which you get checked out, and if there's a problem, you can't buy the gun. Criminals, by definition, don't sit there and say, you know what?
Let me go through the process.
Let me go through this new 309-page ghost gun regulation to see if I really want to abide by it or not. And criminals don't do that. By definition, they don't follow rules and laws. So what you're dealing with, people using guns in crime, first of all, it's a small percentage of the violent crimes.
Is that true?
Absolutely. The violent crimes, many of them fists. What are you going to do? Say, well, that's it. Everybody cut off their hands.
No fists.
No, it's shoving. It's
that will be anti-LGBTQ.
I'm not going to explore that avenue of quote thought with our audience.
That's for another show.
Yeah, you could do that late at night with Robin Bird if you want. But
is that person still alive?
Probably.
She was old when I was in college.
Probably with a walker. You know.
Wow, I don't think I've ever seen people sitting on this part of the lawn here.
Oh, I have. Yeah, it's amazing how it goes from nuclear winter to all of a sudden.
Right. People are out.
And that guy's, I hope that's his daughter.
Yeah. Oh, and then all of the big,
we'll go around.
Fluffy dogs are out as well.
Yeah, but what a difference is it? So anyway, with these violent crime issues, first Biden gets up there and he's I think when he's memorized lines or trying to read off a teleprompter, or he's got something connected into his head that's flapping his lips.
I agree.
He can talk, but when he goes off script now, I mean, we have no script in these 500 videos we've done together. Oftentimes we don't even decide what we're going to talk about until we show
Correct.
up. But in the case of Biden, he goes off script and he says, let's talk about this. I mean, tobacco companies. Imagine if they were immune to prostitutes.
That's the other reason we selected
I know,
the movie
that's
today.
why I bring it up. And then yesterday, and the memes, I don't know if you've been able to watch some of the things I've been tweeting out today, but yesterday I was thinking to myself, he's going to give us a tweet.
Let's check out the farmer's market.
He's going to give a talk yesterday about ethanol and how...
E85.
E15, I think it was.
Oh, well, sorry, but I think it's the same thing, 15% ethanol.
Right, and there are, nobody really knows conclusively on some of these issues whether ethanol is net better or worse.
No, they know. It actually...
Again, it depends.
I watched a car thing about it.
Again, it depends the altitude. It depends the variation in heat and cool, and all sorts of arguments back and forth, whether it's positive or negative, the local economy.
No, that's just it. It's a net zero because it costs less, but you get worse fuel economy.
I know. I'm just saying, but it's one of those areas where you can look at it and you can say this study done in Brazil shows that it's fantastic. This study, I'm just making stuff up.
But Brazil, they make the cars to run on ethanol.
I know, I'm just saying, so the study, for him to get up there in America, this idiot in chief, to get up there and try to make this case, who knows what, the person who introduced him seemed to be very friendly with Biden and maybe a contributor, maybe a loyal Democrat, who knows what grift this person's going to get out of it. And he's standing there giving the speech, and next thing you know, a bird craps on him.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That was great.
And the first time I saw it, I tweeted out there, is this real? Because I can't imagine that the President of the United States would go to a setting where they didn't say, listen, he's not giving a speech with all these birds flying above him, one or more of which could crap on him. I know.
1 foot away from him.
The grave. So I tweet out, is this a thing? Is this real? And sure enough, I then look on TV, it was all real. People do it down in slow motion, and today on Twitter, oh my God,
What were they saying?
They had one picture of, the FBI has finally found the bird in question. It's a gigantic bird.
Yeah, the bird left its credit card there,
it's a bird with a Donald Trump wig.
Yeah, that's good.
Then there's another one. Well, we all know why this happened, and there's a picture of Donald Trump putting the Medal of Honor on a guy with a bird head.
That's funny.
And
they should show Trump feeding the bird.
And then these people are saying, comments like, even the animal kingdom knows this guy's a complete loser.
Back on the ethanol thing for a second, Charles. I mean, I don't want Joe Biden changing the specification. I mean, if he comes out tomorrow and says, we're going to save money, you got to now run your computer on toothpaste.
Right.
It's like, dude, get the hell out of here.
Well, there's that, and even before we go to ethanol on ghost guns, people have looked quickly at this long regulation that obviously has been in the making for quite a while. 309 pages are tough to write cogently, and realizing that Biden can't even do this, that there's a law, you have to amend the law, and that's not going to get through Congress anytime soon. So, I mean, this guy is a pathetic embarrassment who, really, I don't understand how he even deigns to show up in a public setting anymore. It's just, he's humiliating, he's kicking his own ass.
Nothing he says makes any sense. And I mean, the first thought I had when they said they're going to start changing all the gasoline is, what is that going to do to my car?
salami.
What?
Pasture-raised pork salami. First place I go to for salami is Paulet, Vermont.
Oh, well, I don't know. I'm not a salami
I
expert.
would go to an
What am I,
Italian deli.
a butcher?
I go to. So what am I, an agronomist?
I can't speak about salami because
But
I'm not a butcher.
So here we are walking through Union Square. And this is a nice tradition. It started, I don't know, decades ago. I would bet that if we were to take an item here and price it, compare it to
It's expensive.
very expensive.
Yeah, I don't really shop here anymore.
And you know, I would question whether they're collecting sales tax. They're not paying rent for sure. I would question
I
whether
think you
they're
got to pay to be a part of this.
but you're
don't
not
you?
paying rent. You know, rent you got to pay at night.
Right.
You got to pay when the store isn't open. You got to.
Eric Adams will close this down because it's not a plant-based. I mean, my attitude is the cow is eating grass, so technically it is a plant-based life. I'll eat it.
My attitude is it's none of their fucking business if I
Exactly.
want to have a steak.
Because the other thing is, Charles, you know, you have mentioned many times that you frequently use the metric that if somebody is good at A and they come to you saying they want to try B,
Yeah.
you say, all right, that's a reasonable
listen.
thing to try.
Yeah, I'll listen.
So Eric Adams can't even get the being the mayor part of his job right. I don't want him to become my nutritionist until he demonstrates. I mean, he is supposed to be a transit cop, and we just had the biggest subway shooting
It's pathetic.
since
And-
whatever.
And he and others are immediately using this as an excuse. See, that guy Scaramucci. What's his first name?
The mooch,
The Mooch.
Anthony.
Anthony Scaramucci immediately tweets out, you know.
Oh, wait a minute. We got to look at something over here. Hang on. This guy,
Oh yeah, he was here before.
but he was painting the Azov battalion. And that's this guy here. He's painting his Azov. Come here 1 second. I just want people to see this.
Which guy?
This guy right here has a Nazi symbol. This Z with the plus is the Azov battalion, isn't it?
I guess. Yeah, I think he's Russian. Remember
That guy?
We talked to him before, yeah.
But he looks Asian.
Well, a lot of former Soviet Union people who look Asian.
Why would a Russian have
I
an
don't know.
Azov battalion? Wow, and then look at this one. I don't know.
No,
This
but
guy's a-
we interviewed a number of these artists before when we went down to the Hunter Biden.
I don't know about this guy though.
Yeah.
I just asked him if he knew that that was a Nazi symbol, and he looked at me like he was working for the NYPD. Said nothing.
Did he ask you for a Tinder date? Shall we?
He's not my type.
Go ahead.
He's an old Asian man. I prefer women.
So, yeah, this is a remarkable turnabout from Sunday. All these people.
Oh yeah.
And they're all social distancing. Many are not wearing masks.
Here's crystals
Junk.
and tarot cards for sale.
Around that way.
And it looks like they're getting ready to run a dump truck on somebody.
Oh boy.
We got all kinds of stuff going on over here,
Yeah,
Charles.
and we'll walk down University Place to Washington Square Park, where there was quite a bit of action. Because NYU, I think, is pretty much, they must be
It's a good
going,
hairstyle for you.
yeah, they must be going, is that a wig? They must be going into, they put Joe Biden in that wig.
Yeah, he's part of the Whig Party.
I think that's like isn't that a DHL jacket?
Yeah. Germany.
And here we have, what was that, Joe Dirt on the sax?
This guy looks like he was about to get hit a minute ago. Now, the other interesting thing, Charles, and let me just check if this is working. You know, they've recently begun live streaming on Getter, and there were some technical issues with how it was working, but it looks like we might be live streaming on Getter.
That's a first. Technological
Let's
first.
see.
Here we go.
Yes, it's working. Look at that, Charles. So if people are on Getter, they can now get Crowdsource the Truth live streams on Getter. That's fantastic. So please become a sponsor and we'll keep the show going in all these different places. This is an interesting band. like those drums.
Is that that's Biden
Yeah.
and Kamala Harris.
Well, it reminds me of the Saudi Arabian Saturday Night Live.
This guy he's on something.
They're into it for sure. Is that his real hair?
Yeah, Jason, absolutely.
Well, all right, so Biden is kicking his own ass.
He's kicking his own ass. He's kicking our asses, and
That's right.
The situation over in Ukraine.
Not good.
There are different schools of thought now. Increasingly, I've been talking around the world to friends who initially were, we got to get back behind Ukraine. We got to get behind Ukraine. And every time somebody starts on that track, I always ask them, do you know who Stefan Bandera is?
What about the fact that they just put a picture of his political opposition in handcuffs and they're torturing
No,
him?
I know, but that's more modern day. I'm saying, do you know
They probably don't.
anything about Stefan Bandera? Oh no, who's that? Like, well, you probably want to just go on Wikipedia, which is hardly neutral, read what they have to say about Stefan Bandera and who he is and what happened with this government. But it's starting in 2014. The simple overview that I believe to be the case, and I'm no expert, is that there was a government that initially we were happy with
In Ukraine.
In Ukraine, and then we started monkeying around. Victoria Nuland and Biden and others started monkeying around, and the leadership of the then Ukraine government said, you know what we were going to do, getting closer to NATO and the EU, we don't want to do that. We want to be close. We want to remain close to Russia.
It was a trade deal mostly, right?
Yeah, a series of reasons. And so what do? We staged a coup.
Right.
And that government, which,
Using the Nazis, the nationalists.
Bandera supporters, they then proceeded to resurrect or lionize this guy Bandera, who's atrocious.
Made his birthday a national holiday.
Right, and ever since the supposed victory, which we would argue was contested, because we're allowed to actually say that. The
Not
elections
on
are,
YouTube or not.
well, we'll say it anyway. And anyway, the new government then started to bomb folks in the east. Now the Russians weren't happy, and they sent troops in, and they seized Crimea. They're not blameless either, but they looked at this and said, we're not down with this bullshit. You can't do this. And you could maybe mess around with elections in America and in other countries, but you're not messing around in an election on our border in a big country like
Russia
Ukraine.
said that.
Yeah, in a big country like Ukraine. And Joe Biden, honestly, I think he's got whatever his original wattage was. It's a 100-watt bulb.
The bulb is dim now.
There ain't no watts in there. He's a no watt, no how kind of
He would
dude.
have to be an LED bulb because it's
He's
better
not
for the
even.
environment.
He's a DEAD, brain DEAD.
It's like 6 watts equals 40, but not really. And it starts to flicker
He doesn't
a
know
little bit.
what's what.
No,
But-
he doesn't.
But anyway, so here we are, and the West is all saying, we got to get behind Zelensky, we got to do this, we got to do that, and suddenly people are beginning to see that this Zelensky is an ingrate, and they're starting to look more carefully into his history, and
it's
reports,
not good.
and it's not good, and his connections, and those are not good, and they're increasingly coming to the realization that instead of doing what we should have done when Russia laid out and said, these are our concerns, and Bite Me got up there and said, well, I don't care about history. I just want to look forward. I don't want to go backward. Let's go forward.
Considering even 2 minutes ago to be history.
Right, and so there are reports. This used to be that fancy market.
But it's just totally gone now.
Yeah, it's going to be back fall 2023, apparently. This whole area has been progressively. There you go.
And he looked across and he
Wow.
saw that guy.
That's what happens here
Quite
today,
a
gone
thing.
tomorrow.
What are you guys doing?
Huh?
Dirt hole.
Who is he?
I don't know. I thought he was the foreman for a minute.
He's definitely not. Maybe he's the spokesperson falling off Nutrislim. Anyway, it's like
On the wagon, off the wagon.
lined up in front of the ice cream place, of course.
Yeah.
I'll have a bucket of gelato to go with my bucket of fried chicken.
Didn't have another bite.
So there are reports that came out several days ago, Larry Johnson, Tom McGregor, others, noting that notwithstanding the CNN reports, the MSNBC reports, even the Fox News reports.
Sorry, hang on a second, Charles. We're getting a lot of static for some reason.
Right near what's that guy's name? Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin is giving us static?
He lives right there.
Oh, anyway, sorry, it's gone now.
Okay. So, notwithstanding all the reports that were out there in the mainstream, the corporate-owned media, the facts on the ground are that the Russians appeared to have very successfully, in a war, a military operation, taken out key infrastructure in Ukraine, rendering it very difficult for the Ukrainians to control their whole territory. And indeed, recently, apparently, there's a report just before we started. I'm not there, so I don't know if it's really true, stating that a whole bunch of Ukrainian Marines just surrendered because they have no ammunition, no food, no nothing. And it's like, we've had enough.
There's something else interesting that I saw, and this is really important. Like, people are like, oh, why do you believe Putin? I don't believe Putin. I don't know Putin. I'm just looking at evidence, and if the evidence is compelling, I believe it until strong or countermanding evidence arrives. But they've kicked off RT, the video portion of RT from YouTube and everything. Right. But you can still get it on Gab. Because now that I was so excited about Getter live streaming, I have a Gab TV account, but you can't live stream on there, so I haven't done any videos on there yet. But they have RT on. And RT had a report this morning where it's a Russian soldier. They're in Mariupol, and they have some building that they've taken over, which was, whatever kind of Ukrainian army thing. And they have a bunch of drones there, which are, they're DJI drones. So they're like consumer drones that you could go buy at,
Chinese made, right?
Chinese make all of these. DJI basically makes the flight controller hardware in virtually any drone you're going to get, no matter who makes it. There was a company called US Robotics that was the competitor.
What happened to them? I don't know.
I think they went out of business. But the point is, it's not really a consumer drone. This is like a drone that you would buy if you were going to fly on a movie, maybe $15,000, $20,000. It's a pretty sizable thing, about a meter in diameter, and these drones were equipped with a reservoir system that they said could
chemical weapons,
to spray. And Charles, some of those drones can go like 20 kilometers away.
Right.
So you could do some pretty serious damage. And by the way, if you just saw a drone flying over, you wouldn't necessarily think, oh my God, chemical warfare.
And drones can be hacked, right?
They can be hacked, they can be interfered with, they can do all kinds of things.
I remember, I never took a journalism course.
Hey, look.
It's a misspelling. It's got to be XI.
Yeah. Well, that's the new variant, isn't it?
So, experimental humanities and social engagement.
Sounds like a lot of bullshit.
It's like another argument not to send your child to NYU.
Yeah.
But
so people are looking at Zelensky.
When I was taught, my friends would all tell me, when I entered the world with GE of trying to convince people to really analyze GE more carefully, and I met all these famous journalists starting in 2007, they would all say, listen, it's our job to be skeptical. We can't just take your word for it. We have to.
Students.
We have to have. These are prospective students. Or maybe they've been admitted and they're trying to decide if they want to come.
What does this say? Notice of photography. Please be aware, by entering this area, you consent your voice to be photographed.
Yeah.
They're not saying you can't photograph.
Right.
You're gonna be.
Yeah. So you're supposed to be. Yeah. Right.
Taking nose swabs.
So they actually watch. Before I came over, there's two.
Crazy people.
Outdoor, not ecdysias, but nature lovers sleeping over there for 3 o'clock, whatever time it is. So journalists are supposed to be skeptical, and they should be most skeptical of government reporting. And just because it's so easy for somebody to stand, quote, behind the podium and say, you know, I just got off the phone with, or I just met with the president, and we have this, we've classified sources and methods we can't reveal.
Right.
But this is what's going on. And a good journalist would say, fuck you. You know, I don't care about this classified crap. Tell me what's, you know, why I should believe, you know, that we're actually making progress with this. What are we doing in Ukraine? Has there been a congressional resolution authorizing the use of force, American force in Ukraine?
But how about why is the ruble going up and the dollar going down if we're doing so great?
Well, because Janet Yellen, who's really, I'm sorry, fucking stupid, you know, is out there. She was the one saying inflation is transitory.
Right.
And what did she say today that's so crazy? But there's a combination of people who have achieved high positions. We're
about to meet some of them with high positions.
I can leave you here if you
No,
have
that's
inventory replenishment issues.
No, thanks.
But
Dummies with high positions.
yeah, I mean, there's just too many of them, and have been damaging this country for too long.
Grass is dead.
Yeah, and we had inflation was supposed to be transitory.
Well, it's anti-trans to say that it's not
Yeah,
transitory.
right. And it's obviously not transitory. Yesterday, consumer price inflation was up at 8.5%, and that number, they game the true number. You know, the way you calculate price inflation is there's an index that is the product or the result of looking at a lot of different factors. And so the pointy heads in the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they decide, Bureau of Economic Statistics, what should be the weighting of the different elements of the cost structure. And you can manipulate survey results, you can manipulate weightings, and it's in the government's interest not to produce a high inflation figure because a lot of contracts are tied to inflation. And so including Social Security.
So they're manipulating that for their own benefit.
They're suppressing it, and if they're suppressing it, instead we can go around that way, or
Sure.
if it's saying 8.5% at consumer level, and today over 11, what is that?
What?
I want to see those people dancing.
Let's go check it out.
Yeah. And they're saying at producer price level, it's 11.5 or 11 plus. You know, when producer prices rise by 11 plus, then consumer prices are going to spiral even higher.
Wow.
So, yeah, what is this?
Oh, didn't you say there was some band going crazy
Well,
over here?
it was over there. It's not
I
there
guess they're
anymore.
done.
Yeah, maybe they're on break.
Well, it looks like Aladdin or something.
I think that's somebody who just thinks they dress responsibly. We'll circle around to the left.
Sure.
But don't want to get too close to these maniacs.
It's become a weed flea market and
That's
a
right.
skate park.
Right.
So they're manipulating these inflation
Right,
numbers.
and the numbers are horrible. And we have, there's some Washington Post writer who said that, this high inflation number proves that we've got to let more people, illegal immigrants, into
What?
this country. Yeah.
How does that?
Well, because if we have more people in this country, there'll be more people competing for work, and that means wages won't go up as quickly. You know,
That's not what causes inflation, though.
I know, and it's just idiotic.
Wow. The other thing is they have the bus arriving with
Yeah, it did
people
arrive,
from
actually.
Texas.
I love that. And then we have another person from the Washington Post saying, we got to stop. It's outrageous that Elon Musk, a billionaire, would try to take
Right.
control of Twitter. And
The
Tucker
rich
had a
people
lot of fun
control.
with that. He had a picture of Jeff Bezos with like a wizard hat
Right.
on, and he was really, as they say in Ireland, taking the piss out of him. It was hilarious. So here we are. This is the center of Washington Square Park.
And there's just a loose dog.
If you want to get a poetry reading, you can do that there. That's actually
But
nice.
somebody's lost their dog. Or is very irresponsible with their dog.
There's another one over there.
I like the typewriter.
Yeah, I like those old typewriters.
Hi. That's a nice typewriter. Is it an antique?
Hey, what are we What are you doing?
Is it an antique typewriter?
Am I on TV right now?
YouTube, if you count it as TV.
What?
I think it's an antique typewriter.
Yeah, it's
Charles.
nice. I thought it was a poet.
Well, that guy's a poet. He had an
Does he
opportunity
know it?
to advertise himself, but he
He's
didn't
a
know
poet
it.
and he doesn't know it.
He's a lefty and
why-
he doesn't
these
want to
two
be on
guys,
our
why are they
show.
walking like that?
It's called crack. It kills.
Crack
Wow.
is whack.
See, look at all these little kids having fun. This is what the park is for, not selling weed and riding
Well-
skateboards.
Right. Well, yes and no. I mean, this little playground wasn't here in this way when I first arrived. in
That was part of the,
1959.
no, this is very new actually. This wasn't
About-
here until just a few years ago.
20 years ago, maybe.
This,
Yeah,
I think it's less than 20. Maybe 20 years seems like not that long to me anymore.
that's probably right.
Yeah, that guy's wearing a switchblade shirt. I don't know if you saw that, Charles, but he's not.
At least he's not carrying a switchblade that we know
But
of.
it's not the Lloyd Austin type of switchblade. Oh my God! And look at this. Here, this guy's got Garfield in the metaverse. See that?
Yeah. So this is the one of the two chess areas. There's some very talented chess players here who.
I thought you said they closed this.
No, the other one over there.
Oh, I was just over there yesterday. It
Now look
looked
at
like
these
they were
flowers,
doing
Jason.
chess.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's nice. Spring.
I wonder how much fertilizer was required to bring those flowers up and what the carbon footprint of that is. Oh yeah, I know why I was going to say so. An idiot Yellen got up today and said we've got to decarbonize the American and Western economies as quickly as possible.
Oh my God.
And like, you really want to have, a what the fuck chorus of people saying, what are you talking about? You are crazy.
How are you going to run airplanes?
Well, again, moves like that are those are gigantic structural changes in a global economy. These are not things that you don't snap your fingers. Oh, go right ahead,
That's not
guys.
legal to be riding.
Well, or to make a left on right red.
Through the light, right.
Yeah. So, and
Live and let live, Charles. People
know.
want to run us over
I
and
know.
sell drugs and kill people in the park. I'm a real jerk to call that out
That's true.
and expect the cops to stop it.
Yeah.
I just want to keep paying taxes, let those cops stand around collecting money, doing nothing.
Pensions. Yeah. So I don't know if we've talked to you about this. This is used to be the Unitarian Church. I don't know if it still is.
This
Yeah,
thing?
United Methodist Church. It used to be Unitarian, I thought. And there's a bowling alley in here.
Wow.
It has its own bowl. As a kid, we used to come here not to go to church.
But it's not open to the public, the bowling alley,
No.
right? It's just if you're in the church.
Yeah, it's not
That's
National Architectural Trust basement.
They're not getting any FedEx deliveries. Or
I
they're too
don't
busy
think they're
bowling.
I don't think they're getting many parishioners either.
Why not?
I just don't think there's much interest.
All we need
in
is one more pin, Rodney.
What's that from?
It's like a Miller Lite commercial with Rodney Dangerfield. How's the Super Cruise?
Yeah, there's the guy. He's back now, living on the street, across the street.
Oh, who?
You'll see him in a second. He's got his art.
Oh yeah, he's got some Bounty toilet paper over there.
Yeah. And so this is actually not super high-end portion of the village, and unfortunately, because of the zoning, there's all kinds of porn stores and pot stores and whatever. But this has become a bum's rush paradise.
Yeah.
And you're going to see it in a second. It's garbage adjacent.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stores around here, that's for sure.
And that Washington Square diner used to be fairly priced, your classic diner. Now they've jacked the prices up.
Yeah. Oh, and you know what's funny? All this talk about buying electric cars. I just saw a thing, I always tell you about the Ford Raptor.
Uh-huh.
So GM now just came out with a Silverado ZR2 that's also like 420 horsepower. So
Wow.
I don't know what, Jen Psaki and Pete Buttigieg are talking about. People want gigantic trucks that go 0 to 60 in 4 seconds and, take 8 miles per gallon. And that's what they want.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're hauling heavy equipment, you're
No, it's about burning tires.
you want
I don't think anybody's hauling heavy equipment in
on a
Raptor.
farm. I'm just saying, right? Well,
You don't need a Raptor for
but
that.
I mean, if you've got, across the country, I believe the very few people, as a percentage of all cars on the road, very few are traditional sedans.
And you're right about that if you are hauling things, see, there's a lot of, an electric car is great if you're in Santa Monica,
Not there.
driving from your house to your office where you can plug it in at both places, and whoever you work for is paying for the electricity. But if you do need a truck to haul something up a hill, the characteristics of electric stuff, notice like none of these electric trucks have come out yet.
Well, did you see the latest on Santa Monica?
They're following people around and robbing them.
Well, and the U.S. Postal Service is no longer delivering mail because it's too dangerous.
To Santa Monica?
Yep.
What? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
So this used to be family friendly down here, and
What depends on what family you're in.
yeah, the Biden family.
You want to start a family.
You can make Hunter Biden could be the celebrity spokesperson for this stuff. You probably wear the woman stuff. Then you get
well,
your
you
weed.
have to go to the crack store.
Well, fortunately, here's you got your what do they call it?
Porn?
Gateway drugs.
Oh.
You got your gateway drug. It's
There.
420.
Oh yeah, it's Weed World. That's their second location.
Second only.
Well, it's the only,
Right
as far
next
as
to
I'm
the
aware,
MD, right next.
the retail place, they have
Then
all
you got
the
the truck
trucks.
across the way.
Oh yeah, wow, look at that. No, they have a lot of those trucks, but only 2 actual stores as far as I know.
And
That
here
guy
we
was
have
wearing the John Lennon shirt.
yeah. And here we have this encampment over here,
Well, I thought they cleared it out.
right ahead of you,
Well, this is the movie theater.
to your right.
Yeah. This movie theater smells very bad inside
It
there.
used to be quite a fun place when I was a kid. Gonna look at this Donbass. We could,
wow.
we've got our next poster. So
Dumbass.
Exactly. Mind reader.
There's a clean energy bus right there, Charles.
Right, and there we have, next generation technology, a bicycle pulling all kinds of Amazon crates. That's
So there's
progress. People on bikes. What are they going to have next? Rickshaws?
They have it. A lot of stuff out of business.
So there's not a lot of great stuff on TV, but yesterday I was watching, I believe he goes by Skip Gates, Henry Louis Gates Jr., and he's got this thing where he traces the ancestry of people. And it's actually quite moving. He goes through, he's got a great team. He's a very talented historian and researcher, but he's an arch globalist.
I don't know who that guy is.
Henry Louis Gates, he's the guy who, at the beer summit, he was coming back to his house in
Oh,
2009
right.
in Cambridge, a Harvard professor, and the cops arrested him for going to his own house, that kind of stuff.
Right.
That was wrong. That was badly wrong. So here we go, Jason. This is a place near and dear to your heart.
Joe's
Pizza here is pretty good, and here we have the one beggar here.
I met Seth
Joe?
Meyers in this Joe Pizza.
Did you meet Joe?
I've never
Is
met
Joe Biden?
Joe Biden's
Joe
Pizza.
Biden's
You'd go
pizzas?
in there and there'd be no pizza.
And they charge you 10 times for it.
Be yelling at you.
But you didn't see the guy there blocking the entrance.
Yeah, it's always.
So this used to be sort of the northern portion of Little Italy. It still sort of is. This is new. Remember that
Yeah.
Grom ice cream went out of business and the
Now
location got destroyed.
Even fancier.
I think this is an Italian from mainstream from Italy. Excuse
sorry.
me. We want to go this way, Jason.
Yeah. That thing numero 28 used to be something different. I got the worst food poisoning ever.
So you liked it? You were trying to lose weight quickly for an important date?
Wow, this dog looks dangerous. They had some. Charles, what do you think of that? That dog looks like Cujo.
Yeah, I don't want to get terribly
Oh,
close.
man.
Close to it, Jason. This is why? Oh yeah, I guess this is Monday. Sonny, what is today?
Wednesday.
What is this?
Ash Wednesday?
No.
I don't know.
It's
I had
there's a mass at 12:05.
calamari with black ink sauce, and I was throwing up for days.
That's not a religious holiday. Calamari with black ink sauce. But
I almost saw God.
when I tell you about, when I was a kid, this was the area where you could walk. I was told you could walk drunk, with dollar bills, $100 bills.
And you're safe because it's Little Italy.
And they just say, listen, you need to go home. Can I take you home? Here's your money. You're fine. And there was no crime, no nothing. I mean, street crime.
You know something funny? I was telling you something about some scene from The Sopranos where they're at dinner the other day, and now YouTube is bombarding me with The Sopranos
Oh,
at
I
dinner
love The Sopranos.
videos.
There's a bar around here somebody took me to that that who was the guy's name? Tony
James Gandolfini.
Yeah, it was his favorite bar. It was right around
I
here.
met him one time. He was not friendly at all.
He wasn't. But and this is it's progress. I think it used to be more or less shut all in here, but it seems like there's a lot of stuff coming back.
It smells good.
And I hope
What is this?
Urban vegetarian vegan kitchen.
Wow, I'm surprised that smelled as good as it did.
You lost me at vegan.
It's the hot sauce, I think. I was
Caipirinha bar. That's a nice idea.
It's good if you want to get hammered.
Brazilian
kitchen. That sounds good. Muito bom.
Muito bom, yes.
That's good.
Do you have? You don't have any cachaça, right?
Take a little.
Brazilian place with no cachaça.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Where in Brazil are you from?
Rio.
Ah, Rio. Very nice. How do
Why
like
aren't
New
you
York?
there?
I love it. I love it. I've been here 1.5 years now.
Hi there.
We do to go.
Obrigado.
We don't do it on air. Thanks.
I love Brazil.
Oh, I do too. Do bem, do bon. This used to be a fantastic Italian restaurant, old-style Italian restaurant, and
This breakfast thing?
well, yeah, the Grey Dog is different, I think. But it's really sad. They had a great. Is it veal saltimbocca?
Ossobuco.
Ossobuco, yeah, great ossobuco.
Charles, this is a play. Raise the plow for the garbage.
Speaking of Thailand,
Oh, I thought it said homeless cooking. It says homemade cooking. That sounds much more appealing.
than homeless cooking.
Yeah.
Evidently, this person who was on a rampage had a real problem with Eric Adams and
James, what's the guy's name?
Franks, is it, or James?
It's just amazing how the FBI is, oh yeah, we know that guy.
Yeah, we cleared him.
Why didn't you stop him? And he leaves his credit card at the...
Well, so far, I mean, the whole narrative is, I mean, it really is offensive that people would, in America, in this great country with all the advances we have,
What's
and all the
offensive
wealth,
about it?
it's offensive that people would say that only white people can be racist. I mean, that
Yeah,
I
right.
have personally experienced the reverse,
Yeah.
as have you, I think. And racism is bad, full stop.
Right.
It's bad if...
But let's define it for a second, because I think there's a lot of people who feel that black people can't be racist because they have been...
I'm not a biologist.
Right. Well, but just like a conspiracy has been so... a lot of people think the word conspiracy means that something is not true.
Yeah.
Because it's been so associated, conspiracy theories, etc. I think that black people think the word racism means white people not liking black
No,
people.
It means discriminating against somebody
Based on race.
based on the color of their skin. That's what it means. And it should be, it's a little bit more complicated than that, because you have, for example, to start with white people on the island of Ireland, there's a long history of the English discriminating against I guess Anglican English discriminating against the Catholic Irish. Both were white, and then I happen to have a strand of my ancient family that got over to Ireland very early, and what would happen is they would tend to marry.
Hey! What's happening, man?
How are you?
These are the boys. I don't want to get your kids on the show. We're live right now.
Three of us.
Good to see you. I got to come by the restaurant.
You got it. Take care, Jason.
Take care. Good to see you, Peter.
That Monty's.
Yeah.
So they
He's got
had
3 kids now.
Wow. They have, well, he doesn't have to worry about paying for food. So they have this saying in Ireland that you would go over there, and even if you were loyal to the English, you'd marry an Irish person. Let's just wait a second.
Trying to get out your shot.
That's all right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So, and then you would, become Irish. And so there's a case in point.
Sorry. But the question is, what is race?
Well, again, here you have the color of their skin, and the English, when you read the accounts of what they did on the before the Ulster plantation in 1600 whatever year it was, under Queen Elizabeth, when they went in to try to pacify Ireland, they would do. War crimes don't begin to describe what they would do. There's one famous incident where they had a long-ranging battle between the Irish and the English, and they put up flags. The Irish put up white flags of surrender, and there were peace talks, and the English made them to walk to the. They took a whole bunch of Irish people, slaughtered them, bleached their heads, and made them walk up this thing of bleached heads to sit
How
down.
could they walk if they were slaughtered?
No. There were other Irish people. Just
Oh,
saying they just set the tone by saying, "Yeah, we'll discuss peace. You're going to be. I don't know which way. You're going south or
Whatever.
go further to the
I don't
water,
mind.
or you're the you.
I think anytime we come out, Charles, we look at stuff and we run into Peter and all kinds of
Sure.
interesting things happen.
Curry.
Not interested in that too much.
I'm sure. Wow, you did mention you like to lose weight the hard way.
Nah.
You went to that other place. You said
Which one?
where you got sick.
Oh, that was like 20 years ago.
You have the Greek. Yeah, Greek.
I don't really like
Yeah, they
eating
did.
food out of the truck.
Well, I can't imagine why.
It doesn't
I mean,
seem.
standards of cleanliness. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Is next to a truck.
And this construction site doesn't seem to have been really. It hasn't really moved forward.
NYC environmental protection. Those are, I think, probably those waste pipes again that are spewing
Maybe.
stuff up. I'm wondering, maybe we should go over to the river.
Sure.
'Cause this is kind of
Check out the Diddle Island.
Oh, we're way south of that.
It's probably still diddling people there. What happened with Barry Diller was doing something with an IPO or something? Got in trouble.
Activism was doing some
Right,
merger,
right. Blizzard.
And the argument is that maybe there were people trading on insider information, which is verboten,
Maybe
but
they
tough
knew.
to trace.
Oh, and also Elon Musk is getting sued by Twitter investors.
That there's an industry of what are called strike suit lawyers in the M&A game, and they'll sue for any reason.
Oh yeah.
And they
that's-
just in their business, they have the standard suits lined up, and what they're hoping is that their suits will ultimately be consolidated into one big suit, and they fight amongst themselves to be the lead lawyer, and then they hope that a deal happens, and if a deal happens, you have to clean up these suits. And typically, the value of the deal is so much greater than the alleged damages in the suit, and strike
they
suit
settle.
lawyers just get paid off. I am not, quote, famous, but there is a court decision involving Western Airlines in which they were trying to get us to stop this merger with Western, and I was one of the key witnesses in the case. And the CEO said, Charles, look, we'll pay you whatever you want. I said, fuck them, we're not paying a penny.
Huh.
And we didn't.
It's pretty good.
It's one of the very few times that happened, at least when it happened back in 1986-ish.
Joe Biden just decided 2 more weeks of masks
Yeah,
on
because
planes.
he's an eminent science.
But
science.
like,
He's
right,
following
what
the
is that going to
science.
do? 2 weeks it'll be okay, but now it's not?
Didn't we already do the 2 weeks to stop the spread deal?
The whole thing is so stupid, it's crazy.
Yeah. You got to have there have to be new definitions of stupid. There has to be a scientist to come up with can't just say stupid. There's got to be
Put a picture of
you
Joe
know,
Biden.
You know the way they have what is it, the scale for earthquakes and the scale for
Yeah.
whatever. You got to have a similar kind of scale for
Richter scale.
The Richter scale. We could call it the Biden scale.
Do you remember in some Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, he chops the guy's arms off and throws him down a hole and says, "See you at the party, Richter."
I don't actually remember that. But.
I think it was the one where he goes to Mars. Total Recall. Now, we've seen this apartment building from the other side, but here's a pretty good view of it.
Yeah, and here we see,
Diddle
signs.
Island is right down there, isn't it?
I think it's up. I think it's like 17th Street or something.
No, it's
Or 12th.
below Chelsea Piers, isn't it?
Oh, we're way below Christopher Street right now.
But isn't that Chelsea Piers right there?
Weeds come a long way, baby. Is that Kamala Harris?
Oh, wow. What is this? Flower by Edie Parker. So this is some sort of fashion weed?
Yeah, the Coco Chanel of cannabis, Jason.
Wow, Charles, this is amazing. A weed ad campaign.
21 Bond Street.
My God. So this is some sort of super premium weed place.
So they say. It's
Well,
probably.
look-
It's
oh
probably
my God. Just contemplate this picture for a second. Can people
I don't
see
want
this?
to. Jason. I really would like to be able to sleep tonight.
So Elon Musk is making everybody at Twitter go crazy.
I think that wasn't a heavy lift. I mean,
What is he gonna do now? Hostile
knows?
takeover, buy the whole thing?
Who knows? Drive everybody
No?
crazy. Who knows? I mean, it's
So speaking of stupid, Devin Nunes was on Maria Bartiromo.
Maria Bartiromo's not
Why
stupid.
are all these guys honking?
'Cause they wanna make the
Devin
light.
Nunes is stupid. And he was on Maria Bartiromo saying, I don't know why Elon Musk wants to spend $3 billion on Twitter. It's a dying platform.
Three? Oh, you mean for his share? Yeah.
He could, Nunes is saying Musk could come over to Truth Social for free. And it's a much better platform. I mean, it was such a ridiculous
Stick to milk.
sales pitch from stupid Devin Nunes. It just made it look stupider. I just don't understand what the hell Donald Trump was doing.
Well, your thinking is up that way, but let's go into the park and either down or up.
Yeah.
Whichever way you want to go.
So this is the West Side Highway, Charles.
Still here.
Yes. We were driving on this to go to the Trump Links. I learned a lot more about links golf courses than I ever expected to know.
So you're gonna drop everything, move to Scotland, and become an expert?
Well, it's too windy. I don't think I would really want to play. I mean, I'm terrible at golf.
I think the only reason to think about that is just to listen to the Scottish accents, which are hilarious.
Yeah, they are.
They're very funny. And apparently the caddies, when you get over there, I've never been to
Scotland.
They try to play on their golf courses by definition, you're rich in their eyes if you could be in Scotland spending all this money. And they just, even though they're working for you, they just spend a lot of time making fun of you.
But wasn't the guy who was telling him to kill all the golfers, he was Scottish?
McVidish? I thought I told you.
Yeah. One of the funniest aspects of that movie that I just don't think I understood when I was a kid is that the gopher is just such an obvious Muppet. It's like not even remotely trying to be a real gopher.
And that car that rolls in that movie, that's the car I had. Not that particular car, but that.
This is an ST Explorer. I think there's something special about the engine in there.
Okay, it better be.
Those are expensive now.
Look, actual stoplights for bicycles with people obeying them.
Huh, I'm
Amazing.
surprised. Now, we can't go in here, can we?
We could, I suppose, but
This is a
I
parking
don't
lot,
like the idea of photographing children, particularly.
All right.
But I mean, we can if you want. It's,
No, I mean,
let's go that way.
yeah. Well, all right, so what else is stupid Joe Biden doing there? So Lloyd Austin was having some Zoom call training Ukrainian soldiers to fly Switchblade suicide drones.
Right,
We're in this war. That French guy said that
Right.
the Pentagon was running it.
Well, and this is the thing. I mean, I don't think, I really just don't think it's a good idea at all to have a powerful government say it's supposed to be a democracy. Remember, every time the left has a problem with anything somebody on the right might do, the line that comes out of the left is we're destroying our democracy. Well,
Yeah.
The surest way to destroy your democracy is to spend a truckload of money you don't have on stupid ass programs that go to cronies, and then decide that after you've botched the withdrawal from Afghanistan that you want to fight a war sub rosa without explaining to anybody that we're actually doing it in a country that is of great strategic importance to Russia and of piddling importance to this country.
Well, I think it's of importance to this country simply to use as a lever against Russia.
But again, that's way down the list. It's not like,
Oh, of course.
you know, to say that we want to do this because it might annoy the Russians. I mean,
That dog looks like it could eat somebody.
there's no way to refer to that woman.
Charles, there's been a big row.
Village Community Boathouse.
Yeah, you're right.
Where's where are the boats at? I guess it must be over there.
Now this thing over here is ventilation, I think, for the...
It certainly does not. There's the statue of what's left of Liberty. I'm amazed it's not wearing a mask.
Yeah, probably it was at one point. Let's see if we can see it. That's actually not bad. Whoop.
Here's a grown man on a scooter.
Well, it's hard to keep it in the shot.
So, I mean, this is an area that, again, if you had decent city planners and you thought things through, this could be pretty nice.
I think it actually is nice.
Well, where are the restaurants?
Right. Yeah, they don't have
Just
that.
for starters. Where are the ferry slips?
They could float boats right out here and put restaurants on them, although that is apparently a huge problem. You know, Pete Davidson, who I don't find funny and is mostly becoming famous for having sex with Kim Kardashian and pissing off Kanye West, he bought some Staten Island ferry to turn into a comedy club and restaurant, and now there's all kinds of problems coming up as far as how to, you know, where to put it. And
Right. These guys don't know what they're doing.
with tennis,
Yeah.
how do you get onto these tennis courts? Anybody
These are
can
city
go?
courts, I think, and I think you have to just pay like $100+ per season, and there's a reservation process. I mean, they could be pretty nice. But, you know, one of the things that I'm snobby about is tennis. Hudson River Park, yeah. So when you look at this court, one of the things that's nice about it is that it has a lot of space in the back and on the side. So if you're a good tennis player, you're going to be hitting balls at a sharp angle, and you don't want people running into a fence at high speed. But one of the things that's atrocious about this court is the cracks. I mean, you got to go and
What cracks?
you know, it's
That's also atrocious about the Joe Biden presidency, all the crack.
Hunter Biden, he supplied the cracks.
So here's another guy who's got a skateboard.
That's very dangerous.
Of course it is. And the idiot, French, whatever his name is, who posted the comment about live and let live,
he's
that doesn't
better.
mean you get to do dangerous stuff where other people are trying to walk. That's not live and let live. That's called being a selfish asshole.
That's right. We look across the river here at all these buildings. We look the other way on the recent walk around, and this is a tremendous buildup of space.
Jersey City or whatever. What is that?
I don't know.
Secaucus?
Different
No,
area code,
not
Jason.
Secaucus.
Different area code. Same, dead ahead.
What's the name of the town? Hoboken.
I don't think that's Hoboken. I think
No?
it's,
Jersey City?
I think it could be Jersey City. And what's the other one? It's Weehawken or something?
Weehawken, I think, is further up that way because there's like, when you get out of the tunnel, the Lincoln Tunnel, you're in Weehawken. So that's
Yeah.
like 30 something.
Anyway, so
That's a strange
here's a
building,
government
isn't it?
worker. Yeah, there's a government worker, Jason.
Right.
Fast asleep with a hand.
Do you know what this is? This
No,
giant
I have
brick?
No clue. Fast asleep with his hands in his pants in public. A strong move.
So they captured the guy who shot up the subway, and I mean, so he left his credit card there, Charles. Doesn't that seem weird to you? Why would he have his credit card out if he's bombing and shooting up the subway?
Well, Jesse Waters was he's getting funnier and funnier. Yesterday he was on a tear at the end of his hour talking about, listen, as I've aged, I've gotten more enamored of the idea of making lists. Every night before I go to sleep, I make a list. And the next morning I go and I look at the list and I make sure that, you know, I might want to add or subtract from the list. And then when I come home from work, I see what I've crossed off the list. That's how you make progress. Yeah, we can do that. So, you know,
Joe
this
Biden.
guy's list-making process, you know, rent or steal van, put weaponry in it, drive to New York City.
Yeah, why? Why not shoot in Philadelphia if that's where he's from?
I mean, it's always sunny in Philadelphia, Jason.
But I'm saying, why would you rent a van with a credit card and leave all this?
I don't think logic entered greatly into this man's list-making execution.
But it's a little bit kind of incongruent that we've got this crazy guy who makes a plan and comes to New York. That's a lot of organization versus just going down to SEPTA. Why didn't he shoot that up?
I mean, those are questions to ask, but
I just don't believe the whole thing because
this instead of Barack Obama, who Tucker thankfully is whacking figuratively every night, instead of Barack Obama getting up and making the idiotic comment that in this day and age, what we need to do is control who gets access to information and how information is circulated so that we don't circulate misinformation.
Right.
What Barack Obama should be doing, if he's going to step up now and admit that he's actually running the country from behind the scenes, he should stand up and say, listen, this person is innocent till proven guilty, but I just want people to know in this country, whether you're black, white, or you got purple hair, or whatever your skin complexion, or however you identify, it is absolutely not okay to go and start executing people in public because you don't like the color of their skin or you don't like their sexual orientation. It's not right.
Did Obama say anything about
Nothing,
this?
of course not. He's too busy counting. He's getting his taxes done, probably.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know.
But that's, if you remember, I don't know if you remember this famous Sister Souljah moment with Bill Clinton. Sister Souljah was, I think, some kind of rap singer. That's lovely.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And she was making incendiary race-based comments, and Clinton, a lefty, or actually supposedly then a centrist Democrat, got up and dissed her and criticized her for making these remarks. And that was the famous Sister Souljah moment that convinced skeptics about Bill Clinton that he actually would be reasonable and a centrist as opposed to a hard left puke, which he is.
Right. Oh, I guess we can't go in there.
Well, I didn't finish on Skip Gates. I just want to finish on that. So one of the things that was interesting, he has a great research team, and I love history, particularly as protagonists in it learn about their past. I mean, most of us in this country, myself included, did not originally know a great deal about their history because one of the reasons the first settlers came, one of the many reasons, is that they wanted to flee their past and they didn't want folks necessarily understanding why they were up here. So when you see what Gates, let's stop around here. So what Gates does is he takes famous people from different walks of life, typically celebrity types. This particular one was Regina Kane, a black woman married to Damon
Johns?
No, a funny name. And one was a African American or black woman, and the other was a Jewish person. And he has the ability, I've been told that it's not easy to do this when I try to do it, but he somehow has the ability to go deeply into archives all over the world and lay out this history. And that part of it was very good and fun to listen to, but the conclusion was diabolical. His argument was, in summing up, and he of course gets these emotional people who've learned about their true past for the first time, because Kane's ancestors were enslaved, and because her husband's ancestors were executed by the Nazis, that shows the inhumanity of what nation states can do to people. And we don't need, nation states are artificial. We need, borders are artificial. We need to have a global world, eliminate these borders, because borders are a construct that set you back. And you don't want to ask him some questions like, let's just think about Harvard for a second. Does Harvard benefit from that approach? I mean, is Harvard by chance a tax-exempt institution in the United States that is able, with its great brand built up over a long period of time, to fill its classrooms and then and have all these grateful alumni giving it so much money that they don't know what to spend it on, that now has this great brand name, which would cost an enormous amount to attempt to replicate, and it's likely that that brand name will be used as a stamp in any globalist government, because that's of course what's happened. You know, so you of course, Skip, you'd love to see globalism because Harvard is set. They have a moat around it, and you'll get your pension. But to have these people argue for yet another gigantic government bureaucracy, because none of the ones that we have work.
Right.
It's pathetic.
Well, and also, I mean, what he's talking
It's a nice
about
view here, Jason.
with the Nazis and everything, weren't they also trying to create a one world government?
Exactly.
And isn't it sort of maybe a terrible idea?
It's an atrocious idea. I mean, very few people can do a good job taking care of themselves, and their families, and their communities. Why do we need
We still have these helicopters hanging
everywhere?
It's,
Well, there's the Department of Sanitation. So maybe we go in this way. And
Sure.
Head back uptown.
Where's the Department of... Oh, is that is the
What's
Department
there?
of Sanitation?
DSNY?
Oh, yeah, right. Wow, it's a huge building. What's going on in there, you think?
I don't think anything appetizing
Sanitary?
is going on in there. I don't think they've got a long Jesse Waters list saying, what homeless encampment shall we clean up today? Who's got the power washer supply? Let's make sure we power wash these pavements to get rid of the dog.
But what does that involve when they clean up a homeless encampment? What do they do with the people who are staying there?
I don't know, and it's not a simple situation to deal with, and I have a great deal of of empathy for many of these people, particularly people who are mentally ill. You've got somebody who's, you got a broken wrist, you can fix the wrist, but a broken mind is not easy to fix.
Titanium screw, no?
Sometimes no kind of screw is going to work.
They're loose.
Exactly. Now what's that? A Harvard art project?
Well, that's what I was asking you before. I don't know. Although, if you're a veteran, you can go to the VA and get your schizophrenia treated medically.
Is that what Joe's going to do?
Pharmaceutically. I don't know if Joe's going to do that. There's other people who have spoken about that on the internet.
Well, I think that's, again, schizophrenia, we got to go here, I think.
No, I know.
After you.
Here.
Yeah.
Got it. It's a serious mental illness, Charles.
Well, yeah. And so a lot of these homeless people have severe mental problems. And so it's not as simple as saying to them, would you like a shower? Would you like, some medical?
I don't think they did that. I got the impression they were just throwing away their stuff and kicking them out.
No, what they try to do is they try to get them, particularly in the cold weather, to go into these homeless shelters. And then, of course, because the one area that government doesn't police well is dealing with the vulnerable in these homeless shelters. And that's what this guy was alleging. He was railing first against white people, supposedly, and then he was railing against his experience, I don't know, maybe as a homeless person, having these mental health people come out to try to deal with him. And then, I don't know about rape, but he alleged that the people who treat homeless people are primarily homosexual deviants, trying to take advantage of the vulnerable. He went on from there to refer to Ketanji Brown Jackson. Mind you, this fellow is black, I believe.
Yeah, he is. They show the picture of him.
But he identifies as a racist, I guess. He went on to say that Ketanji Brown Jackson is a disaster because she married a white devil. And it's
That's
just
his opinion.
the virtue of having a situation where information is shared is you take this guy who's a disaster, who should be given a fair trial, but if he's guilty, convicted, probably go to a mental institution. But you have to learn from this experience. You have to educate people, a teachable moment. For
Don't leave your credit card if you're going to shoot the place up.
yeah, bring an extra axe. But
And don't shoot 33 bullets. That's weird too.
right. But and then we have for Barack Obama and Joe Biden and other people to say we want to wage a war on misinformation. Okay, where do you want to start?
Everything he said.
Like everything you said was going to happen with Obamacare? Everything Bush said about the Iraq War? Do you tell me where you want to start? Isn't that the essence of campaigning and politicking, spreading misinformation for personal advantage?
Yeah.
And for the benefit of your donors?
They've added it to YouTube, when you want to, when people say oh.
Well, this is another offense, crime against humanity? Careful.
No, that
We don't
they
have
have so there's a lot of people now coming into the comments advertising porn. It seems like that's sometimes eliminated.
Well,
and
but
then-
Hunter must be watching.
I don't know, but so when I go and say block this person, you can choose spam, porn, hate speech, and now they have misinformation.
Wow.
So this is probably accurate information about porn. I just didn't want it. I can't tell if this is accurate or not.
Yeah. This is pretty quiet down here.
It is. Well,
an
wait a
outfit.
minute. Aren't we over here is where they cleared out a whole area, isn't it?
It's on the far to the east side. Let's see, what's this?
508 Canal Street. designated
1829.
landmark. What is it?
Built in 1828. Built by merchant tailor John G. Rohr. Do you know what a merchant tailor is?
I guess it's somebody who's selling clothes.
Well, in England and in other countries, there are these ancient guilds, and the way it worked is, if you wanted to be a tailor selling clothing, you had to try to get into the merchant tailor. You had to be an apprentice.
City and guilds.
Right, and that's one of the ancient ones, particularly ancient ones.
The
and the way it worked
fishmongers
is,
are part of that.
yeah, these guilds go way, way back. And it was an interesting approach. It was, I don't know when they started. Each one started at a different era, but they typically...
14-something was the first one, I think.
1300, I think.
Maybe that's right.
Gold. But you had to go through this process of being an apprentice and then
Getting
serving out
buggered.
your... Well, no, you typically live with a family, and you spent, I think, 7 years, and at the end of it, you got clothes, you had a profession, and you could practice your trade inside the city wherever you served out your apprenticeship. So the cities were mostly walled,
Right.
and it was an interesting approach where only free men could become apprentices.
This is how the whole Freemason thing started. Here's
Well,
another Arlo hotel.
Freemasonry is much later, and so they the one interesting aspect of it. That's a guy who's probably going to go straight to Harvard.
Those two idiots.
Yeah, Beavis and Butthead.
Right.
Yeah,
You got to get a belt.
probably trust fund kids. But anyway,
Tip into the bank account and buy a belt.
that's right. Yeah,
It's a new van for the cops, Charles.
that's probably sleeping in
Perfect. It'd leave the engine running and nobody in it. You want to drive?
there. There's no
to Canada
carbon,
in that?
no carbon footprint. They're probably banging each other in there.
Actually, there's a reason why the cops need to leave the car on, because all the radios and stuff would drain the battery. I was watching a thing about this.
That's all right. So just let me finish on the
Yeah.
on the concept of freemen. In the city, if you pick the city of London, if you're no freeman can sue another freeman.
Ah,
So there were lawsuits, of course, and there was crime, of course. But it's interesting to study that history.
speaking of lawsuits and idiots, Devin Nunes' lawyer got some sanctions overturned in Virginia. It's amazing. This guy is bulletproof in Virginia. He's representing Svetlana Likova, who has some kind of something going on with
That was
Stefan.
a disease.
Svetlana Likova. But she's got something going on with Stefan Halper, where she wrote a book, and Halper,
How does a crackhead get to be as important as Stefan Halper
working
was?
for George Bush.
Did Hunter dedicate his book to that guy? I mean,
That's what I'm saying. They're all crackheads, apparently, in the figurative sense.
okay, we have it.
But what is up with this Svetlana Likova?
I know.
What is up with Stephen Biss, the incompetent lawyer for the allegedly dead Robert David Steele, his dumb wife, Devin Nunes, and now Dr. Malone is being represented by Stephen Biss. Dr. Malone told Joe Rogan that he was working with the CIA.
Yeah, I know.
So how is Biss representing all these guys? He's totally incompetent. Anyway, he got the sanctions, $33,000 overturned.
Wow.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're going to get a package delivered to where you live. A special calculator, and the only keys on it are going to be 2 3s.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Goodman, that bill for your bar tab, it's $33 with tip.
33 bullets shot. Nobody finds that weird. So
33 RPM.
the other 33 and a third. The other, I actually learned about something interesting that you're not going to care about. People who are super into vinyl records, there's a process called half-speed mastering that makes the records sound better.
I don't think you can use master anymore, Jason.
Oh, right, it's racist.
I got to change the name.
Half-speed, whatever. But it was a super interesting, I love this type of explanation, because what they're saying is that high frequency sounds, you know how that thing etches
Right.
the waveform into the record, high frequency sounds are challenging for it to do, and by slowing it down to half speed, it can carve the frequency much more accurately, and it has a dramatic sound improvement to the record.
Good to know. I'll never do
I
that.
was intrigued by that. I
That's
kind of want to hear a record. I found out about this because there's a box set of Sade's entire music
Sade.
library. I love Sade.
Whatever happened to her?
She's apparently making a new album that's supposed to come out. They've been recording it during the pandemic.
She like works once every 25 years or something.
About every 10 or 11 years she has an album.
She got a great voice.
Fantastic. I saw her at Madison Square Garden one time.
Wow.
It was great.
I saw her on the cover of a CD that I have.
Yeah.
The only time I saw her.
But I mean, I was thinking last night, what happened to Sade? And I found all that out.
And then you got all these YouTube things.
Well,
on
and I
Sade?
found out that she has this box set, and I was like, well, but what is it on? CDs or what? And it's only on record, and it made this whole big deal about half-speed mastering. And I was thinking, like, well, what the hell is that, and how does that work? And then I went and found a YouTube video about this guy who was like a super genius on record mastering.
He's a half-speed
He
master.
spoke about how they slow down the digital master and slow down this thing to 16 and three quarters
you
or
got
whatever.
your Jedi master and your
Yes,
half-speed master.
all that's got to
and
be
your
changed.
Heavy Semi-Quaver master.
Yeah, all that's got to be changed. But I don't even have a record player, so.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, the first time I got a reasonably sized bonus, I remember going over to Park Avenue Audio and doing the stupid thing you do in your 20s.
Is that still there?
It's moved across the street on Park, yeah. But doing the stupid thing you do when you've got too much money and
Buy a $40,000
not
stereo.
40,000. It was a
They have
19
expensive stereos there.
Oh, I know. It was in modern terms it might have been 40, but it's 40 years ago.
It's a very expensive place.
Yeah. New York.
I mean, Park Audio.
I know. Go Puff Market. That's a great name.
I had a friend who was super into. He had some like Macintosh tube. I mean, I remember when he told me how much it cost. I couldn't believe it.
Our French friend bought a pair of speakers in Paris for his for his living room that were like best in the world speakers or whatever. He brings them into the apartment, and he neglected to tell his wife that they looked like, they had this apparatus in the center of the speaker that looked very much like
Garbage.
No, like let's just say, not far away from the birth canal. Put it that way.
So she didn't like it.
She's like, what are you doing? This is
a giant vagina in the living room.
Two of them, stereo speakers.
They gotta go.
They eventually, the marriage went
Oh man.
eventually.
Speakers are staying.
Speakers, I think, probably went as well. I probably got chopped into smithereens.
I don't think my ears are good enough to be able to.
Yeah, it's like you want
Justify.
to. I mean, can you really tell a difference between a $40 bottle of wine and a $200 bottle of wine?
I cannot. I can tell the difference between a $16 bottle of wine that I like and a $16 bottle of wine that I don't like. But I've never had an experience where somebody got some very expensive wine and I was like, oh, that's... I've told you the story about when I went to buy a tuxedo.
Yeah,
and I tried on an $8,000 tuxedo just because I was thinking, like we're talking right now, how could it possibly be that good? And it was like magic.
Really?
I did not buy it, but I could understand it was absolutely better than a regular tuxedo.
You hope. But that's
Silk
because
on the inside of the arms.
I mean, that's because every Friday night you have tuxedo dinner at home.
No, it was when I won the, I guess it was for either Metallica or the quarter wave retarder. I won an award from the 3D Society, and so I had to go to the event.
Did you have a really long, did you do one of those acceptance speeches?
They don't let you make a speech. Or actually, the only person who gets to make a speech is the best. Martin Scorsese won for Hugo, and he got to make a speech. And then I took a picture of him. Did I ever show you the 3D picture I have of Martin Scorsese?
No.
With Lenny Lipton and Bob, the guy from Pixar.
There's Green Street.
What is it?
Green Street, we were talking about it.
Oh, right. What were we talking about with that? I forgot.
Off air.
Right.
Remember the...
Oh, right.
So here we have, this is the high-end retailing district down here where we have all these independent entrepreneurs
Stolen
who
material.
sell stuff and don't pay tax.
Here's 33 Thomas Street, the NSA building or whatever. Oh wow, is this a gigantic bong store now that we're looking at?
I think so. Bongs are our babies. Doesn't seem
It looks like it used to be a beer store because
we
it
better
says
walk at some
Artois.
considerable speed through here, I think.
Yeah, this is
want to be
looking
bogged
mighty
down.
dangerous. You want a Rolex, Charles?
I already have 12.
That's the guy's an authorized dealer, right?
Of course, yeah, that's right. The reason you buy from these kind of places is the great maintenance and warranty honoring, you know, selection.
They look like authentic
They're
Nikes.
not.
No?
No.
I mean, they could just be stolen.
No, they're probably made in, you know, somewhere. Costa Rica.
Maserati.
Nice. Honda.
Even better. Actually, I just read that Honda and General Motors are having some kind of joint venture to make electric cars. And Joe Biden has been super pumping up,
He doesn't own an electric car.
but he's pumping up GM as the leader in electrification, which, I mean, Elon Musk is rightly pissed at Joe Biden.
I mean, it's like,
And here's a Tesla.
I mean, we should talk about somebody who was a lot more consequential and has sadly left the planet and a lot more interesting was Gilbert Gottfried. I mean, if he were still alive, I'd care what he might have to say about something, but Joe Biden?
Well, I found out more about what this disease he had was muscular dystrophy or something that
Did he
affected
really
his
have?
heart.
Wow.
That's what some article said, because they said he had a disease, but I mean, I think at this point, if you're famous and you die, people, you don't need to do anything, but if you're going to make a public announcement, I mean, people kind of want to know, was the guy vaccinated? What happened?
Well, he was, yeah.
Was it COVID?
I don't think he was in great health for a long period of time, but
Well, that's probably this, muscular dystrophy, or
Right.
I think that's where
so you're back.
multiple sclerosis, not muscular dystrophy,
CNS?
multiple sclerosis.
Well, you're back on Twitter now, right?
Well, it's the Jason Goodman Twitter account, the small Twitter account, jgoodman_CSTT. And I had appealed. Twitter said I was, wanting violence against Dilbert's cartoon boss.
So are they after, who's that guy who goes after Bugs Bunny? The cartoon
Elmer
character?
Fudd.
Yeah, Elmer Fudd and the other guy?
Yeah, he's a white supremacist.
Sam, whatever his name,
Yosemite Sam.
Yosemite
They're white
Sam.
supremacists. But
He's cream colored, isn't he?
Exactly, he's a cream color supremacist. But they make you, if you want to, they basically say you can appeal this thing and we'll get back to you as quickly as possible, which is apparently more than 2 weeks. Or they just say, well, you can just delete the tweet, but the delete button is like you're
confess your sins.
simultaneously agreeing that you've broken the rules, so they, are using that to also throw you off.
Well, so I wanted to bring up that today, the first family of charity fraud are having a Clinton Global Initiative University session.
Where is that?
I don't know, but they're doing it. It's online on my Twitter feed. And Hillary said, what you should do to lead a meaningful life is you should make up your mind each morning what you want to accomplish. Maybe she's listening to Jesse Waters. And, live a fulfilled life by picking one thing that's important to you to do and doing that every day. And I tweeted out, well, I do that. My specialty is putting charity grifters in jail. Thanks for that advice. And by the way, there is no such thing as the Clinton Global Initiative. We got it. Clinton Global Initiative University has never been lawfully organized or operated anywhere in the world, but they had Dr. Jill Biden was on there.
Oh, yeah, they did. Jill Biden had something happening with a bunch of First Lady stuff. I forget what I
She's
saw.
the Clinton Global Initiative University.
She's
Chelsea-
in that?
Yeah, she's doing cameos, and
Jill
Chelsea's
Biden.
doing a cameo, and it's just amazing to me. Last night I think I was telling you this, so we'll go up Lafayette and I think we can get to Mulberry somehow.
There's Mel Gibson.
There's Mr. Bean.
Yeah. You sure that's not Pete Buttigieg?
What?
Was that guy yelling?
He's saying stop it,
Stop recording his drawings?
I guess.
Oh, well, all right.
He's
It
got
could be,
an
it could be
anger.
promoting him if people
He's got
see
an-
that.
He's got an anger management issue.
Yeah, I mean, if people see that and like it, they could come down here to Chinatown and buy it.
Right.
But now they'll see him being
Behaving
angry
like
and
a
maybe be
dickweed.
reluctant.
But
See, it's ironic. He's upset that I'm photographing his artwork, but he's making artwork of famous people. Does he have Mel Gibson's permission to sell that?
probably not.
So he should shut up.
So the Clinton Global Initiative University doesn't exist, yet it's held meetings all over the place. Trump had to wind up his Trump University and pay a $20 million fine, I think,
Right.
or a large fine, I forget the exact number.
25, I thought.
Was it 25? Okay. But the Clintons are still doing this crap, and I started to say that on Tuesday night, there's not a lot of, well, most nights there's not a lot of great TV, but on CBS they have the series FBI, FBI International, and FBI Most Wanted. And last night's theme was all about charity fraud. It was about a church, a charismatic, non-traditional church, where they bragged about their various accomplishments, which included a school in rural America somewhere, a program in Haiti, and whatever.
What
It
show
sounded-
was this?
FBI Most Wanted, and it sounded a hell of a lot like the Clinton Foundation to me, except it's not technically a religion. The Clinton Foundation. Yeah, it's a cult of no personality, but in the case of Hillary. So it went on, and there was a suspicious character that the FBI team had identified, and they said, they took this person aside and they tried to, pressure this woman who was dressed in a weird fashion as one of these cultists. And it turned out she was a criminal IRS investigator. And so there was a lot of chatter back and forth on how charity fraud works, and the money goes towards a supposed charity that doesn't exist, the money disappears, and it's just like the Clinton Foundation. Here this is on CBS, they're talking about it. We got the FBI interviewing the Tsarnaev brothers and saying, notwithstanding the Russians saying you got a problem, the FBI says, what problem? The FBI interviews the Clinton Foundation
Right.
at least 3 times we know about. Can't see obvious fraud.
Kardashians, Charles.
Yeah,
But, so this was FBI,
Most Wanted.
but there's a bunch of those FBI
I'm
shows.
saying FBI, domestic, it's just called FBI.
I'm going to pitch CBS on a new show.
What's that?
FBI can't be bothered. They just sit around downloading porn.
FBI, not my problem. Not my fucking problem.
Right. Trying to put together teams to assassinate the governor of
Let's
whatever.
go over here for a second.
What about that whole thing with the governor
Whitmer?
Whitmer? That plot was thwarted, and now this is a rare instance where the U.S. attorneys and the Department of Justice lose a case and the defense
Right.
wins.
I think this is Mulberry Street. We're going here.
Well, this is where
We'll
we
just
were
stop here for a second, though.
checking out the Oddfellows.
Right.
So Whitmer,
Yeah, so the Whitmer case was all an FBI actual conspiracy to frame a bunch of people, and they lost. They're now having to admit that the January 6th thing that you videotaped for almost 5 hours or 6 hours or whatever it was, that there were at least 20 FBI assets known.
well, now, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that was a filing by the defendant. We don't have evidence necessarily,
I'll take the defendant before I'll take the FBI at this point.
but it's not a conclusion of the court, is what I'm trying to
Right,
say.
yeah,
That's
I'm
just
not
an
suggesting
assertion.
it was, but I'm just, my point is, as somebody who was there, and you were there too,
Yes,
and you were
they were
filming,
definitely
it
people.
definitely seemed like there were a whole bunch of people there who were not genuinely in
Right.
support of a fair assessment of just how free and fair the election actually was.
Well, and they also weren't there for a peaceful protest. There were probably hundreds of thousands who
Instigators.
were there for peaceful
Right.
protests, and maybe 1,000 people who were there to agitate, or maybe less, 500.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's almost exactly what that Azov battalion guy said. Well, this was a video that we looked at on High Dive with Lee Stranahan, where it's a meeting where this Azov battalion guy is addressing all of his constituents or whatever, and saying there weren't that many of us in Maidan, but we did all the violence.
Right. That's the way it typically works. I mean, that's the way the American Revolution worked. You know, it's the way the French Resistance worked.
Oh yeah, what about the election in France? Are the yellow vests burning everything down?
Well, predictably, no. Predictably, the Antifa people are burning it. Predictably, the mainstream people are saying, including American, in quotes, mainstream people are saying that Marine Le Pen is obviously an ally of Putin.
What? But now wait a minute. I thought the yellow vests and Antifa were kind of the same. What? I don't even know what the yellow vests are trying to do.
Well, we don't have the light, but let's go for it.
What is the goal of the yellow vest?
Well, the yellow vests, you know, in France they're all upset about inflation and government waste and you know, no jobs, and also the stream of refugees that are coming in and crime, and the arrogance of the elite. In theory, know nothing. I mean, know it all. I mean, know nothing.
Ukraine flag.
Yeah. Sell a few more pints. Bureaucrats, and they've had enough of it. So, and like anything else, I mean, you lived in Paris for a while. In any large city, you tend to have the effete intellectuals who flock to the city, and there are a lot of them in. That looks like, you know, top flight business. Lendy
Electric Equipment.
and Supply Corp.
Yeah.
And here you go. This is Bat Shiva,
Bat Shiva crazy.
the new made
cosmetics,
beauty
no?
palace. Bat Shiva. I guess it must be where you go. This is where you go before your bat mitzvah. What's a Shiva again?
Whoa!
What?
Look at this. Well, we have, first of all, it's $50. There's probably something wrong with it because it looks like a very good grandfather clock. But I'm looking at this.
Oh, somebody's moving.
But look at this pickup truck Volkswagen bus. Is that your Volkswagen bus? It's a pretty interesting vehicle. Did you make that?
You did?
They made it?
No, he doesn't. It's not following.
Is this Volkswagen yours?
No, no, no.
Okay,
This guy.
thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
See, there's no, you know, nothing gets lost in translation when dealing with the Chinese, Charles. Is this your van? Yeah. You buy now. Okay, it's yours, right? No.
You bought it.
Oh. But that's
So
the
you-
first thing you learn when you come to Chinatown from China is you buy now.
All right, so here you go. We talked about salami in Union Square. You want to buy salami, you go there.
Oh, I would say that's right.
You wouldn't say that?
That is right, yes. Definitely the Italian butcher.
And so this is the famous Mulberry Street. We've
Yeah.
gone up and down here. Let's see if any of these places are still open. And if so, how busy they might
It
be.
does smell like some stuff is cooking up.
Yeah, and let's hope it's not garbage.
It
But their
smells-
store is
smells
still
good, actually.
out.
Charles, you ever been into that Ferrara bakery?
Yeah, I don't like sweets. But
Oh.
I've been there.
Well, if you want cannolis, that's a good place
Gosh,
to go.
that used to be a nice place right there.
What was it?
It's out.
Oh, that was the Cannoli King.
No,
That was-
Cannoli King is down there.
Oh.
Maybe it's moved up or something.
Didn't
but
they
that-
have a giant cannoli outside this the last time we were here?
Yeah. The more things change, the more they remain the same.
It's like the cannoli Godzilla.
Interesting that people would be eating at this time of day.
Well,
on
so
a
I guess
Wednesday.
early dinner, right?
Very
5 o'clock
early.
Or 4:30, yeah. Well, maybe they're in a different time zone.
Yeah. Well, I guess this is the beginning of a big. The people who celebrate Easter, this is a big week. you know.
Right.
And folks come from around the world
To have
Big
their
cities.
hair set on fire by these electrical heating fixtures.
right.
It's actually kind of nice what this
Oh, yeah.
outdoor dining situation does to the Little Italy walk.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, I guess they should leave this here.
Yeah, they'll probably, if it's doing good things for the city, they'll probably tear it down.
They already did. The city told other places that they have to take them down.
Of course, because if it's working, let's break it.
Yeah.
First rule of public sector, quotes, management.
I think Eric Adams might, in fact, be the most feckless mayor we've ever had because he really has done nothing
Well, he fits that in the 4-box Boston Consulting Group chart.
What?
You take a square and you make 4 boxes out of one square.
Confident, stupid.
Well, high intelligence, low
Right.
intelligence, high arrogance, low arrogance.
Right.
High arrogance, low intelligence. You got the Hillarys, you got the Bidens, you got the AOCs, the Pelosi's, Eric Adams.
He's in there.
Oh, he's definitely in there.
Yeah.
He's fighting to stay in there.
Yeah, and eat a plant-based life.
You got to have an IQ to remain in there. Debatable.
That guy
That's
just
a-
almost fell over skateboarding, and they're never under control.
And he would look to be, perhaps my age. I just say, is there certain things you shouldn't do as you age?
Well, Tony Hawk is
60?
not, he's like 50-something.
Okay, but
He's
he
older
should,
than me.
You should cut it back.
But he's like the world's greatest skateboarder ever.
Still,
And he actually even admits that he can't do the things that he used to do. I did people who think I hate skateboarding, I don't. I did a skateboarding video. I did a 3D skateboarding video with this famous Danish guy named Ruin.
a good
at the
name.
Pink
Is he ruined?
Motel. I don't know. That's just his skateboard name, I guess.
What happened here?
What?
This used to be a restaurant.
Really jumping, right?
It's tough
guess
to have
it
a
just
restaurant when there are no
went out.
places to sit. It would appear to be out.
Right. This
I
was
like
busy
that.
the last time we
Yeah, it
walked
was
by
nice.
Seymour. Someone's got a restaurant here that relies on the secure socket layer.
Soho Strength Lab.
Oh, maybe that's it.
Yeah. So this is how I'd expect this
Oh,
part.
your favorite, Charles.
Wheatgrass. Got to have some of that.
You don't like it?
I like the wheatgrass without the wheat and the grass. Give me a glass of that.
I think it's got a lot of chlorophyll in it.
Oh, great. If I wanted to eat an aquarium.
It's kind of nice.
So yeah, this is, you wouldn't know it. I mean, that building over there is pretty nice looking, but this is expensive real estate in
This
here now.
looks expensive.
Well, yeah, very much so.
Bondi, isn't that an expensive sushi place?
Yeah. We don't see as much Black Lives Matter.
Oh, right. There was a whole big thing about the. What were you telling me that they?
The crook who was decided rather than fill in, at least the Clintons fill in 990s. Her approach was to say, I never had anything to do with this. I can't fill in forms. Get somebody else to do that. And the attorney generals, I think, of New York and California and other places said, you can't, that's not the way it works. You're listed as an officer, you fill the form out or
Right.
we're going to get you. And so now the latest thing she's saying is forcing a charity to be transparent is
Racist.
a triggering event.
Right.
It's a triggering. We have Psaki saying that Kamala Harris wasn't wearing a mask at the Ketanji Brown Jackson thing because it was an emotional event.
Right.
And so now everyone's saying, well, okay, every time I get caught without a mask,
I'll
I'll say
just be
it's an emotional event. And then that funny guy in Boston, the columnist, Howie Carr, on the student loan cancellation,
Right.
he writes this column saying, great news, honey. Careful. I've made this decision. I've got this mortgage I've been paying for 15 years. I paid off my student loans. And because they're going to cancel, because they're going to cancel student loans.
Get the money back.
No, my mortgage identifies as a student loan.
Ah, yeah, exactly. Like all this cancel student loans, that's somebody else's business that you're canceling.
Right. Well, it's more likely than not, if you have any investments in a mutual fund, you probably own a sliver
debt.
of a student
Right.
loan. And then we get this Harridan from hell, Squaw Warren, whose entire, let's just wait over here. I just hate it when these people are right on.
That dog was ready to pounce.
You got, the Harridan from hell, who's an idiot, Elizabeth Warren,
Oh, yeah.
whose entire position in life is erected on a lie. You've found some pictures of her with, it's not as simple as she checked a box saying she was a Native American.
She was making herself look like
She dressed
a
like,
Native
and
American.
she was from
Right.
Oklahoma, where there are a lot of.
Right.
And she parlayed that
Right.
into a tenured position at Harvard, and from there into the Senate. And she opens her pie hole every other day to come up with some other stupid ass thing. because the producers at what's left of MSNBC and what's left of CNN, which is another topic we need to cover.
Yeah.
No sensible
Lieutenant
person.
governor also.
No sensible people. Was she lieutenant governor or what?
No, lieutenant governor of New York getting
Yeah.
indicted.
But because no sensible person would want to go on MSNBC, you're left with Michael Avenatti and Squaw Warren and soon Yen Psaki.
They still have Maddow on Mondays.
She actually gave some announcement last night, and I can't-
Monday only.
Well, I think she's fighting. I mean, I don't wish an adverse health consequence on anybody, actually.
No, but that was the announcement, was that she's going to do the show on Mondays only.
Let's not walk under the
No,
ladder.
definitely not. Is that a superstition?
It is, in my case.
I'm
It's
with
also
you.
practical.
It also makes sense, because
Very
if they drop it, you're going to get a ladder on your head.
You mean when they drop it?
Yes.
All right, they're coming. Get
That
ready to
didn't look
drop
like
the
a
ladder.
fully competent crew to you?
No.
Yeah, I mean,
We got ministers everywhere.
well, all right, so, but what about this lieutenant governor getting indicted?
Well, the hilarious thing is that you have...
You guys are very young for priests.
No, hi.
Hi. Aren't they young?
They may not be priests. They could be...
Why are they wearing that?
I don't know.
It's Halloween.
What am I? The Pope?
Yeah, you can't tell if they're priests.
I'm not a
You're not the
religious
Pope.
expert.
Well, here's a church. They might be priests.
How do you know? Are you an architect?
You're right. I can't tell.
This is new.
What is this?
Looks
foreign and
clean
hard art?
anyway.
Oh, it's Japanese.
It's clean. It's probably expensive.
It's giant. Yeah.
But so Kathy Hochul, who is currently the unelected governor,
Also brain dead.
I don't think we haven't established. Are you a neurologist too?
Exactly.
Established she's got a brain, but she.
I have a
what
friend
I
who's a
lo-
neurosurgeon.
But what I
can call
love, is she. There was as they say in England, controversy
him. Yeah.
over this lieutenant governor, and she was quoted as saying, "I have the utmost confidence in him," like several weeks ago.
Oh.
And now, even he. I mean, generally, what they do when they get indicted is they say, I'm innocent till proven guilty.
He was
I'm
just
gonna-
like, I quit.
Fuck this.
Yeah. Well, but so what exactly happened, and why are they dinging?
I think he's
only-
another charity fraudster.
But it was somebody gave him 50,000, or he wanted to send 50,000, and he got a bribe. But I mean, again, it's why are they getting this guy and not anybody
Clintons.
else? Right. Look at this is like a heavy duty,
That's
ready
a
to.
Land Rover.
But it's got the whole exhaust above the water line, and it's hamster.
Maybe it's also a jet.
Yeah.
So our city, our state, we've got. Honestly, I think we should do. With the pandemic, what we did is we had the people in the private sector had to stay home, and in the public sector,
Legal weed.
yeah, mostly stayed home.
The bespokeness.
But I don't know that there's an appreciable difference in the public sector when a lot of these people don't show up for work,
Right.
or when they do show up for work. But we're still paying egregious amounts of money for foolishness.
All right.
And I think, whenever there's a disaster or a significant government action, you have this podium, and then you have 35 idiots at the podium. I'd like to thank the Coast Guard
Right.
director and the firefighter and the cat
Who is this
eater and
person?
the cat box litter manager. All these people, and it's like an Academy Award speech.
Yes,
I like
except
the-
nobody gets slapped.
Hey, there's more priests. You must be trying to round people up to the service. We can't get you in.
That's weird, isn't
Well,
it?
it's probably maybe if they give us $100, we could probably do it for 10
I got
minutes.
a job with the mitzvah tank.
Oh, I won't do that. One of the things I always get attacked on the mitzvah tank. Several times I've gone with this friend from with his house on. Oh, actually, we went out to dinner on Christmas Day. Walking to the restaurant from the restaurant on Christmas Day, these kids in the mitzvah tank, same kids. Are you Jewish?
It's
Yeah,
Christmas,
this is-
man.
It's obvious. I look Jewish, and no. Anyway,
It's a bit of an insulting question.
I think it's
kind of
none of your
nosy.
freaking business.
Right. What is going on with the priests?
Well,
What, men of the cloth, what are you guys up to? There's a lot of priests
Sorry?
on the street.
am I what?
Catholic.
Catholic? No.
What are you guys doing?
We are doing missions in New York Street.
Yeah, because we are in Holy Week, so we are
Like on a mission or something?
Where are you? You're on a mission from God. Where are you from?
I'm from Mexico.
And you?
from Brazil,
Where in Brazil?
Curitiba.
Curitiba, I know where that is. Sure. Yeah. Well, good
Oh,
luck.
dear.
Stay safe, and don't stay out late in this neighborhood.
Okay, but do you have any intention that I can pray?
Sorry? No. Thank you.
God bless.
Thanks.
He came in the Tesla, Charles. They're
Right.
well-funded priests.
Well, as we look, I'm sure there are many well-intentioned and wonderful Catholics, but going to me, knowing my family history in South America, and asking me if I'm a Catholic would get you
Right.
quite a long speech if my mother were still alive.
Right.
So, but honestly, I think it's a nice time of year for Judaism. When is
Oh, yeah.
Passover soon?
Yeah.
Same weekend?
I don't
or-
know, but it's near my birthday. Well, it's near Easter, right?
Yeah. Near Easter?
It's a nor'easter.
Nor'easter, near Easter?
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of Passover. I hate the food.
Kind of pass it over?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like cardboard,
I like pastrami.
but that's not matzah.
I know, I'm just saying. But
And I actually don't like pastrami.
here we go.
More
I
priests.
guess they're going to ask if we're
You
Catholic.
guys are out in force today.
No, thank you.
I'm Jewish, but thank you. Then they should like flip around and put on a hat and be like, we got for that too.
Well, no, that's like that scene in Caddyshack. I've always wanted to be a member of the priesthood. This is a Luther.
Oh, Sammy Davis Jr.?
No. There's this kid, the caddy, is.
Oh, Caddyshack.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of.
I've always wanted to enter the priesthood. This is a Lutheran exercise, which is another. That's a funny movie.
I was thinking of something else.
Yeah. There is no other great movie than Caddyshack. The Cult of Caddyshack. In fact, today I bet you at NYU Film School, you could probably get, if you had to write a thesis, you could probably write a thesis on Caddyshack.
I don't think they make you write theses. You make a thesis film. That's
okay.
a long FedEx truck.
That's
I
right.
had lunch with my NYU film professor the other day, a week ago or something.
They should invite you back there.
They have. I've taught classes there and things.
That's
You're not even
impressive.
allowed in the building anymore. Yeah, years ago when they were making, I mean, you'd be surprised how late NYU Film School made a transition from film to digital. I mean, when
wouldn't
I
be
was there,
surprised.
we were, well, it was 1990 to 1994. We were cutting negatives and taping things
You
together.
were probably working for free for your professor, not knowing it.
That's only if you had Spike Lee as a teacher, and that came years after I left.
He's after you?
Oh yeah, he's only a few years older than me. He had recently graduated when I was in NYU and was like just having his breakthrough movies happen. He would like come back and show the movies and talk about it and stuff. But then he became a professor there,
Is that spelled P-E-R-F-E-S?
professor, and he would just use his students as the crew on the
That's
film.
standard. That's welcome to academia.
This is a good way to rip off. I don't know why the union didn't do something.
But
so-
that's the standard business model
here,
for
union beer.
Yeah. You and your beer.
Yeah, here, there's the person we were talking about the other day, Scarlett
We
Johansson.
have the light. There's what?
Scarlett Johansson, isn't it?
That says David Yurman.
But the woman with the.
Oh, is that Scott? So you want to
She
go?
doesn't look. Maybe that is David Yurman. I'm not a biologist.
No, David Yurman. My mother liked that jewelry.
He's looking really good.
No, that's somebody likes Scarlett Johansson.
That's her.
Is it?
I mean, isn't it? All white women look the same, Charles.
Well, you've made two major faux pas there, right? How do you know she's white?
Right.
And how do you know it's a woman?
Wow, this is pretty empty for this.
This used to be pretty pricey, right?
Well, this used to be something else, didn't it? What is this?
Lafayette, it says.
This used to be something else. It was something with a Fez. No, inside here was Fez. Do you know that place, Fez? It was a cool place.
Morocco?
No. It was like a club within this restaurant called Fez.
My days of going to clubs quite decades ago. I like the Buddha bar.
Yeah. How
Round
about these wheels on the Rolls-Royce
Don't like those.
SUV?
I just think it's
It's a roller, Charles.
Yeah, I don't like that particular
I
kind.
thought you were a Rolls Royce man.
But not that. That's not an elegant car. That's a brute car.
Big giant.
Here's some. This,
Oh,
this
look
stuff
at
is
that.
expensive.
See, that would be something to play the half speed. This looks like incredibly expensive.
Yeah, sure. It has to be expensive. I mean, you can't a store like this.
The headphone annex.
Yeah, I mean, you can't.
Well, let's go in there and ask them if they have any speakers shaped like vaginas.
I'm doing my apartment in vaginas.
All labia.
The big V. Got this great garbage-adjacent apartment building.
It is nice, you know, spring like this, the flowers are coming out and everything.
Right.
This is also not a good idea in New York to read a map in the middle of the street. What are you guys looking for? Can we help you? Okay, they got it, I think, or they don't speak English or something. They don't seem to know.
I'm doing this because my wife makes me look at maps. I know where I am, but I've got to look at a map.
Yeah,
I have to confess, I definitely am not a map person.
Oh, me neither.
Just like, I remember one of the first major arguments we got into, Clarissa and I, was we bought this weekend house. A friend of hers had a plane, and he was flying in and we had to meet him at this, you know, it's a simple plane, not a jet or anything. And he was young, he was like 30 or something, and he wanted to fly in.
What could go wrong?
And then fly us around to look at where our property was and whatever. And I said, well, how many airports can there be around here?
Oh.
And she's like, well, let's go. And she says,
oh, look.
yeah, and she says, well, don't you want to look at a map? I said, that's what signs, the street signs are for.
Right.
We'll go out, you know, 5 hours later, we finally get to the airport. And I figured, you know, I'd get to a gas station, and I asked somebody at a gas station, where's the airport?
They didn't know.
There was no gas station open
Whoa.
when we were there. Anyway, so we go up there, and that was a very long and bitter argument.
Sorry about that. I'm terrible with maps as well, and I was very, very early on GPS, like even before TomTom. And I remember my mother was like, you know, you gotta have to learn how to follow maps. What are you gonna do if that GPS breaks?
Right.
And I said, Mom, what am I gonna do if the car breaks? I'll get another one, get it fixed.
But that's definitely, to the extent there are gender norms, that's definitely a man-woman thing. The man will say, map, I don't need that. Well, gotta have a map.
Well, there's a certain type of person who also doesn't want to look at the GPS. They just somehow, I don't understand how that works. They're just gonna psychically figure out where to go.
I have another friend who doesn't believe in lines. Waiting in lines.
Oh, waiting in lines. What do you mean?
Like, go to the airport, there's
They
a
just
line.
cut the line?
Cut the line, and people yelling and
Wow.
screaming. And he'll then start speaking in a language they don't speak.
And then they leave him alone?
And they give him, they let him in.
It's kind of a dick
He's
move.
not a close friend.
He's like, I'm going to make it a practice to just piss everybody off.
Lines are for other people.
Yeah.
I'm anti-line. I
So-
identify as being in the front of the line.
Isn't there some kind of big, like, Queen Elizabeth birthday or coronation or
it's-
something coming up?
Well, or death or funeral. I mean, she's getting up there.
But isn't something
Yeah,
happening
boy.
with Prince Charles where they want to, Meghan Markle wants to go and they don't want him to go or something like that?
You know, honestly, I try not to even think about these knuckleheads. I mean, they've got already way too much airtime. The UK, I mean, I like the UK, but they have been misadventuring for so long, pushing the airheads in Foggy Bottom off cliffs.
Well, we haven't spoken about Boris Johnson going to visit his little buddy Vladimir Zelensky.
Is he doing that before or after he pays
Well, he
the
did it.
fine before or after he pays the fine for all the drinks parties he went to during the pandemic?
Exactly. He must have been drunk when he went to Ukraine as well.
Yeah.
But then they asked, I kind of can't tell Jake Sullivan or Anthony Blinken. When I'm
Right.
looking at them, I can tell them apart, but when I'm trying to remember who said what stupid thing, I definitely cannot remember.
You definitely somebody needs to contribute a meme on Donder, on Blinken, on Sullivan.
But they said that they can't put Joe Biden into Ukraine because they can't protect him. So how come England can protect?
I don't think they could put Joe Biden into the front of the White House lawn and protect them. I mean,
Guys.
there's stories emanating out, which I actually do believe that he's, that he gets caught wandering around the White House and doesn't know where he is. There's another story percolating up. Again, it's not confirmed. That on Hunter Biden's laptop, one of the revelations is going to be that he believed his father had dementia long ago.
I think they already said that. He had a text message with his psychiatrist or something.
Yeah. So again, all that's not confirmed yet. Nice shoes.
And what about Jack Maxey? He's been
he's school of thought of under-promise and over-deliver, but that is not what's going on.
hasn't he overpromised and underdelivered?
Yeah. So here's a teddy bear for you. Oh, this is a religious
What is that
thing. It's a
doing?
religious thing. Let's just keep walking.
Do you want to go into the park?
Yeah. We'll see if the band's back.
Right.
And then we'll go down 8th and leave.
Yeah.
But this is a very different mood than garbage adjacent, of course. Sorry. Nice garbage. I mean, we're now into the season, now that it's warm, where the NYU students will imbibe and where we'll come back down here. I think Pride is in June, isn't it? And that's when I took that photograph and put it up on Twitter of the
What
mess.
photograph?
I put it on Twitter of like this disgusting pile everywhere, glass, and pizza cartons, and food.
From
Shattered.
the Pride Parade?
Yeah, from the party after the Pride Parade.
Huh.
Because they all, everyone
Proud
gets,
of the mess.
well, they all, look, I have a certain amount of sympathy for staying out late and having a good time, but as
There they are.
Who? That's not the band
Oh. Whoa.
that I was thinking of. But as a child, I played in that playground there, and I had to look after my 2 younger brothers, and then later my children. We played.
F. Bill Gates, man. What?
I feel like you're meeting for like some reason. Like it's fun to get to each other.
Well, you're wanting to do whatever to Bill Gates,
Yeah,
right?
I didn't want to interrupt what you're doing, but
No, that's okay. Legal weed.
Just very quick. First of all, I appreciate what you guys are doing.
Thanks.
We created a network in Philadelphia, Mark Passio.
Oh.
The One Great Work Network. It's about 40 content creators. The only thing that we are advocating for really is natural law, which is basically.
Isn't Mark Passio a Satanist?
No, he's an ex-Satanist. And
Oh.
he, for 15 years, he's been trying to expose this for 20 years. And like the thing is, like he's getting less of an audience, and it's like it's kind of like discombobulated because he's doing such great work, and he's getting such great people on with him. But anyway, it's the OneGreatWorkNetwork.com, and he has his own website, WhatOnEarthIsHappening.com. WhatOnEarthIsHappening.com.
Isn't that the title of Joe Biden's inaugural speech?
If you send him a 2 terabyte blank 2 terabyte hard drive, he'll fill it up with data. Like all his research for the past 15 years, he'll put it
No
on.
viruses on that, right?
No, it's just files. He's not that way. He's very, very genuine. He was exposed to this Satanism. He was recruited into it, and he's like, fuck this shit. Like when he heard about like the dark things that they do.
He figured, hey,
he's
this
been trying to
Satanism thing
expose
sounds
it.
all right.
Worked for Hillary.
Fits into it.
Anyway,
Figures.
I want people to know he also teaches how to become the true media class. He does this from July to December. 23
I got to stop you because I can't advertise Mark Passio, but
what I'm doing, I have nycactivism.org. We have stopthelockdown.net.
yes, people will check it out.
Those two are like the biggest ones, nycactivism.org, stopthelockdown.net, occupyunionsquare.wordpress.com.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Stay
Have a nice
safe.
day.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Defund Bill Gates. I don't really care for Mark Passio.
Yeah, whoa, look at this guy with a stick.
What's he
Let's
doing?
keep going, Jason.
That's just a full weapon. It's like a ninja
I know,
sword.
but when you start, and the guy, I just said, look, I didn't say stop. But when,
It's pretty crazy in here, Charles.
this
You got
has
a
a-
van. What's the van doing
I
in
don't
the
know,
park?
but this is this mood, you can tell that this is just,
About to happen?
a 6-pack and a bong away from
A
being
riot of
quite
some
rowdy. And you can't easily stop a crowd that gets all rowdy in this park, even with 50 cops. know, it's just not that easy. If you take out a gun and you shoot it in the air, maybe you'll stop. Oh, here's the crazy Asian lady who likes to
right.
get
Well, now
dirty.
she has a guitarist.
Time to get dirty.
And the dirty feet, right.
Yeah. He's got a guitarist who is not playing the guitar. He's
just
slamming
banging on it.
We'll go like this and then down.
Sure.
So you'll be able to get the,
How are the skateboarders not crashing into the dancing lady?
I don't know.
And here's somebody being interviewed with masks on outside.
I know.
We're totally bombing their shot.
It's okay. It's a free country.
This is like an F7 or something.
You want to get your hair colored?
No. Charles, Sony is coming out with like a $59,000 8K movie camera.
Put me down for 2.
Yeah, I don't really know that makes sense. I want to look into it a bit more and understand what it does, but you know, in 2014 I had a 6K camera that was about that price, and it looked great.
You just put it in your living room, or?
No, the pictures from it. I mean.
Oh.
We used it on IMAX movies and stuff.
Wow.
8K would be better, but I just don't understand why people keep buying these $56,000 cameras.
Well,
Some rental place announced they were getting like 30 of them.
wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty good for Sony. Here, and also, did you? Oh no, they brought it back. Yesterday, that COVID lab was gone, but now it's back.
But not forgotten. We got a big bunch of
And then we got this one here too.
If you want, we can just wait here for a second and let all these.
Sure.
It's quite a stream of people.
So why do you think nobody's getting COVID tested anymore?
It's a stupid ass idea.
Yeah, but that didn't stop people before.
Well, I think what we're going to find, you know, Fauci is already said he's already, you know, mooting the idea that there's going to be a new outbreak.
Bird
But-
flu, they said.
Well, there's that, but also a new variant. There's a subvariant and another variant. And
Oh.
I'm a deviant. But with all these people who are all over the place, and you know, good that everyone's out there, I'm sure there are going to be people who get colds and the flu and all kinds of things. But the issue is, when did the flu become life-threatening?
They also said STDs are at an all-time high.
STUPIDs are also at an
That's
all-time
true.
high.
Let's see if anyone has any comments that we should deal with.
This fellow may. This is always fun, these preschools.
I thought this was a bank.
Early childhood center.
Oh wow, it used to be a bank.
Maybe it's still a bank. There's babies in there designing
bank.
derivatives. We'll cross the street over there.
We're getting a lot of static here.
Do you want to go down 9th?
No, let's just go this way. So somehow at that corner we get really hit. All right, so people are talking about the masks, the skateboarders are annoying, I believe it, and they do belong in skateboard parks.
One of the things we forgot to do
Yeah.
was in the great poster on douchebagger Vance,
Yeah.
we forgot to get into why we're now focusing on Obama. And I think one of the reasons to focus on Obama, this limited hangout of which you speak and others speak,
Yes.
I think that's been going on for a long time. And the real major scandal that has, I think, been pushed by big money, by the Rockefellers, by Gates, by Soros and others, has been to neuter the West by sucking jobs out of this country, building up China and India, and destroying the middle class. I mean, one of the obstacles to tyranny is a strong middle class.
Why is that?
Because people in a strong middle class, they save money, they pay for themselves, they don't need government, they're not dependent on government. And the United States in the 50s and 60s had a very strong middle class. So I think the weasels, you know, Klaus Anal Schwab and other people like him,
Yeah.
and the Harvard people, the Yale people, and academia, they were all in for that idea. And they needed to find useful idiots to be heads of various countries. So we've had a long collection of useful idiots. I personally don't think Ronald Reagan was an idiot, but some do. Certainly H.W. was. Certainly I believe Clinton was corrupt as fuck.
Yeah.
Still is. W as well, Obama as well. And, you know, we, myself included, I've always assumed that there were checks and balances in government and that no president would dare to run this country like a tin pot dictator. But that's exactly what's really been happening for quite a while. And yet we put up with this bullshit. And so I think we're though starting to see Tucker Carlson, now Elon Musk and other people say, you know, we didn't just surrender our rights because there's social media. You know, and we don't take instructions from the New York Times or what's left of it.
Canada, they just made it that you have to have a license to be a journalist.
They tried that.
Well, no, they denied Rebel Media the license, and now they're not allowed to cover government stuff. And also, they get downvoted on social media for not having a license.
But that's not going to last for long.
I mean, he did
Let's
it.
look at this for a second. Who is this artist? Because this is
Hunter Biden?
I think this is better than Hunter Biden.
This looks to me
Toma
like a
-1.
5-year-old could do that.
I mean, listen, I'll say, you want to see what's better than Hunter Biden? Right here.
Dirt.
This is better than a Hunter Biden painting, right
Frame
here.
it.
No, with the butt. We have, you know, the artistry here, Jason, was we had to place the cigarette butt in the upper left in homage to cigarette companies.
The
No, we-
negative space around the
Right.
butt.
And this allows you to imagine anything. This is the background of life. This is precious. It's a living art form. You can't buy this. It's priceless.
That is a very good pitch, Charles.
People are
But
probably.
this is all new here.
This is not new.
Goods for the study? Everything here used to be shoes and...
No. This is not new. I know this place. But the studio. This is that famous Electric
looks
Light Studio.
closed.
No, it's right here. Electric Light Studios. And I've been in that Waverly Diner. Yeah. When folks, I forget why I was there, but I was there when folks from Electric Lady Studio had finished something, and the artistic process of Electric Lady Studio, I believe, involves quite a lot of illicit drugs.
Oh, yeah.
And these people were, you know, the waitress comes around like, I'll take 12 pancakes, 3 omelets, you know, it's like 5 orders of home fries. Yeah, that's
Wow.
for the one person.
2 fried chickens and a Coke.
That's right, full fried chicken.
Spectrum is coming to this. That's,
Well, they can afford it.
But that's a huge place inside there. Why? That Spectrum is just for like changing your cable box.
Oh, but all employees must clock in and out from this location with this notice. Oh, this is for, okay.
For the
Yeah,
construction
this is
people?
a gigantic place.
Why are they using a QR code for...
That's for the electrical contractor. Wow, we've gone for over 2 hours. So
Yeah.
go over there and I'll head up.
So what else should we talk about?
Well, so I think it's time. I mean, Obama's now opened his pie hole back up, and he always used to say after he left, you know, he dropped the mic, "Thanks, Obama." Everything was going well. And, you know, people say, I think he said that one of the most important decisions he made was the selection of his vice president. How'd that go?
Not well.
You know?
Now, how can he say that if he also simultaneously says that everything that Joe does, he messes up?
Because there's no I in we, Jason. There's no I in weed up.
Huh.
But, no, I mean, I think the other thing, just quickly, we'll spend just a few seconds on it, is, I mean, drinking this way, is that what we're seeing around the world now is we're seeing central banks forcing up interest rates. So we're in a new trend where...
Why are they doing that?
Because inflation's out of control. And they're not raising interest rates enough. And so this marks a new period. And when inflation's at 8.5, according to the government, and you have your interest rates at 3, you know, it doesn't make any sense to save money, right?
Because you're losing money just
Right.
by holding on to it.
And so we're now in this new era. Well, I'll let you leave you here. But we're in this new era where I think the politicians must understand that they're not going to get away with the easy money days. Those are over. Not going to get away with deficit spending.
I don't think they understand anything.
Well, the real pain is coming. We're seeing riots in Peru. We're seeing riots in other places, in food riots. They're talking about them in Egypt. They may happen in Europe.
China, everybody's screaming out the window.
Right, and it could happen here too. So I think we have to, hope that we get through this mess, but it's not looking good. And this relentless attack against Putin and anybody who might dare criticize the regime, in hindsight, if we get to write books in English and understand them in English, if we, we're not living on the street, pushing rickshaws or pulling rickshaws around as the help.
I could get you a 2-bedroom in that garbage structure on 15th Street.
How much do I have to pay in advance?
Well, it's the monthly is high, but
oh, okay. I don't have to pay you like 1,000% up front.
Down.
Nothing down. Okay.
Just bring your own garbage.
And then I get a bridge with that or no? Okay.
Get
So
the mint bags to keep the rats away.
oh, okay. They work so well. We didn't see many rats or homeless people, but spring has sprung, and Joe Biden and his team is the dumbest. It's a team of dunces. It's really.
It's an international embarrassment. Did you even know that there was a Saudi Arabian comedy show?
I think there's on the list. You have the different awards, whatever be the Academy Award for the best comedic actor. Or
Well, these guys would win an Emmy.
You got Swiss comics, and then you got Saudi comics,
Right.
and then you got the Antarctic comedy team. They practice under the ice. No, I didn't think there was much in the way of comedy.
It wasn't that funny either, but
It was reasonably funny that Saudi Arabia will disappear tomorrow if the United States says, we're not going to protect the kingdom. And so for them not to take Joe
don't
Biden,
they have so much money now that
it's not that. Money doesn't buy it. I mean, we've been there
they have
for
weapons and
You
planes?
still need people to fly them. It's
They
like
have? No, Air National Guard.
right,
Saudi.
yeah, they're working hard. I mean, my understanding is that people, if you're that rich as a country, it's like here, you don't like to work, and say, hey, Jason, listen, here's the deal. You don't have to work. You can hang around in Hollywood. You do what you like to do. You can go to parties. There are lots of women around. You can have fun. Or alternatively, you can learn how to fly this jet plane, and you probably can get shot out of the air. And I'm going to pay you about what you make now.
Isn't there a whole country of people that Saudi Arabia uses as mercenaries? That's an unusual name that I can't remember right now.
America?
No. That one I would remember. Well, anyway, we'll talk about it next time, Charles. Thanks for watching, everybody. I haven't heard from Lee, and I'm not sure if we're going to be doing his show tonight. He was, Kenny and his wife came to visit him, so he was pretty busy this week. He might be still kind of recuperating. Let's see what he says here. Okay. Well, we'll have to see. I got to check with him.
Very
Charles,
good, Jason.
yes. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please become sponsors on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. There's still a huge effort to crush the show.